Greetings from Paulson Stadium in Statesboro, Georgia. A crystal clear fall day as the Wofford Terriers visit the Georgia Southern Eagles, Southern Conference football here on CSS. I'm Mark Bryant. Good afternoon. Podcast partner Tracy Ham. Tracy, always a pleasure to have you in the booth.
Yes, Mark, I haven't seen you in quite a while since the last game we done.
That's right. We were here a couple times in September. Now we're all the way in November, and things have changed a bit for Georgia Southern.
Yeah, I think when the season started, there was a lot of optimism about where the team was going to be and what they were going to be able to accomplish. Hadn't been able to quite get over the hump on a couple of ball games, but I think this game is a game about pride.
Yes, and they are now 3-5 and hoping for better. They're looking at Travis Clark to help them get there. Number 14, the quarterback, a transfer from Southern Miss, rewriting the Georgia Southern record book thanks to the new offense, but that has not always produced victories.
Well, when you look at where he's at now and where he started at, I think there's been a lot of improvement. But I think if Travis would trade all that in for victories.
Absolutely. Now, on the other side of the ball, the number and name we call a lot, 47, John Mooring. He is the leader of this defense, and he is always around the ball.
Yeah, we've heard John Mooring's name being called for the last couple of years. He's really done an outstanding job. He's leading in the nation top for tackles, and he's been a very solid player for Georgia Southern.
Now, on the other side of the ball, the Wofford Terriers and Coach Mike Ayers, they know what they're doing. Ayers in his 19th year, and it's run first, run second, and keep running.
Well, Mike understands his ball club. He understands where the success comes from. He understands if they control the rushing attack, they'll beat people.
And that means putting it in the hands of Kevius Johnson, number 20, a whole bunch. Not so much that they beat up this small young man, but enough that he gets his 7 yards a carry.
Yes, what Coach Arizona does well with Kevius Johnson is they put him the ball in space. They give him the ball where he can create people missing tackles, and he's not going between the tackles as much as a big running back would. So it gives him the chance to be successful out on the perimeter.
Southern Conference football, the Wofford Terriers and the Georgia Southern Eagles. Keep it right here on CSS, your source for Southeast sports. We are at Paulson Stadium in Statesboro, Georgia, and you can see it's coin toss time here on a cool afternoon. Breezy out here, and the Georgia Southern Eagles are taking the field. And here come the Wofford Terriers as well. You know, this is an interesting series. They've met 11 times, and Georgia Southern won 6 of the first 7, and Wofford's won 3 of the last 4.
Well, one of the games, the first that I was on my first start was against Wofford, and we lost that. And you see the keys to the ball game. Wofford got to run the ball well on first down. I think once you run the ball well on first down, you can do things you want to do. And then score early. Georgia Southern still continues to be a very fragile ball club. And then, if you score early, you put pressure on the offense to score. And play, they got to make Travis make plays. I think Wofford really wanted Travis Clark to be the playmaker and not allow some of the other skilled guys to be playmakers.
As we said, a crystal clear day, 55 degrees for kickoff, and clear, wind 17 miles an hour, so it's going to be blowing around a little bit. Now, how about for Georgia Southern? What do they need to do,
Well,
Tracy?
I think Georgia Southern need to stop the run. Obviously, if they have to run the ball, Georgia Southern need to stop the run. But I think one of the biggest statistics Georgia Southern has to improve on is converting on third down. They put themselves in position to get a legitimate first down, and they have not been able to convert on third down. And then they got to have big plays. They got to go for some big plays. They need big plays from the offense, defense, special teams. 2 of the 3 teams have to come up with big plays for them.
And so the Eagles and Terriers set to do battle as the teams take the field. Tell me, Tracy, did you like days like this, a little cold, a little windy, or were you a play in the heat and the sunshine?
Well, I prefer the heat and the sunshine because that's what we practice in. As we look at the series, the series history for the overall, Georgia Southern 74 and GSU lead the series. But they've won the last 3 out of 4 ball games.
Wofford has, yeah.
Wofford has won the last 3 out of 4, and even though we look at it as if Georgia Southern has dominated the series, but Wofford has consistently been a very tough opponent for Georgia Southern. They've been able to stop the option at times when Georgia Southern was running the option, and because they run the option. So you're going to see some mixed emotions today as they run the option and we don't.
Back deep for the Terriers, number 13, Brandon Berry, and 20, Kevius Johnson It will be toward Berry. He takes it at his own 5 and runs to his left, finds an opening across the 20 to about the 25-yard line, and a nice little return there to get things going for Wofford.
Well, very good start for Wofford. They on the 25-yard line, and in a day like this, when we were kicking the ball, George Southern was kicking the ball. You got to wash my mouth out with soap if I say we, if I continue to say we. But Georgia Southern continues to. Should have been a kickoff in the end zone with the wind at their back, and they weren't able to get it there, and Wofford comes out in very good field position on a very windy day.
The quarterback is number 12, Josh Collier, but don't look for Collier to throw a lot. He throws when he has to, but this is a wing-bone offense, and they are going to run the ball, and they will do it with a little misdirection to Kevius Johnson, number 20.
And that's one of the things they do, the misdirection, getting Kevius Johnson in very ideal situations for himself and their team. And I think we'll see a lot of that, him getting the ball on the perimeter.
And he only got a couple yards on that, well below his average there. The big guys up front for Wofford. Corey McKenna anchoring the middle of that line. Also for the Terriers, the backs and receivers, we've talked about Johnson. Also look for fullback Michael Hobbs to get his share of carries. The 2nd and 8 play now. And you see a full house backfield there, and it will be to Hobbs. And right up the gut, or a couple more, out to about the 30-yard line. On the Georgia Southern side of the ball, I tell you what, Sherrod Taylor right up front with some very capable defensive lineman Larry Beard on the other end. The linebackers, we talked about John Mooring, Jason Earwood, no slouch himself, and Terrion Benefield. Those guys will all be out there making tackles. Rico Zachary, the ball hawk at free safety, and the other guys in the defensive backfield you see there, Jackson Bynum for the Eagles. 3rd down and 5 to go for the Terriers. Man in motion will get the pitch. That is Johnson pulling it out to the right side, trying to get to the marker, and pushed out short. Mooring in on the tackle.
See, and that's why I think it's so important that Georgia Southern does a very good job on 1st and 2nd down. It was a 3rd and 5, and Wofford continues to run the football. So it put them in a position where Georgia Southern had an opportunity to stop them, and they stopped them there.
Now, it should be pointed out that the Terriers have gone more on 4th down than any other Southern Conference team this year. They are 9 of 21 on 4th down, and they believe that all 4th and shorts should still be theirs because they can run the ball. And they're going to go here on the first series on 4th and less than 1.
And look at the receiver up top. Nobody sees him. They finally see him right there.
Collier sets Johnson in motion. And he's got a man jumping across. He gets back. Let's see the officials.
Timeout, Wofford.
Yep. Charge timeout to the Wofford Terriers. Looked like Collier just about got what he wanted out of there. Was a free 1st down.
Well, sometimes when you look at statistics, and they tell a lot about a ball club, first opportunity they get, they live up to their statistics, going for it on 4th down, or assuming that they're going for it.
Yeah, if they still do that after the timeout, that's a lot of confidence in an offense there. That's Coach Ayers believes in these guys. And a lot has been said, year in and year out about a lot of teams. If you don't think your team can get a yard, what is that saying about your team? But you don't want to risk losing possession on your own end.
Well, to me, it's very risky here. You're on the road. You're going into the wind, and you're going for it on 1st down on your own end. So all the coaching books and all the coaching gods would say punt the ball. But, Coach Ayers knows his ball club very well. He understands that they are a running team. And if they go for it, he'll be very confident that his guys will get it.
Okay, so there's two outcomes to this. Now, if Wofford gets it, they get the confidence, right?
Right.
If they don't, they're potentially putting themselves in a really interesting hole. Short field for Travis Clark on in Georgia Southern at home.
Well, it looks like it's going to be one of the second option you pick, going for it on 4th down, and we'll see what they come up with. And
you see John Mooring in the middle there, and that defense, can they stand up to 4th? And just under a yard to go. Collier up under center. Sends Johnson, and he's going to plunge forward. Did that ball pop out?
I think the ball popped out.
They're scrambling in for it, and it's going to make the spot interesting, the possession interesting.
Right foot spot. I'm going out on a limb. He's short.
Did he even keep the ball? But you're telling 6 inches short. They're pulling it back short. That's a 1st down, Georgia Southern. You see him going into the pile. nothing doing for the Terriers.
I think that's very important for Georgia Southern defense. Some, people will say that when people go put on fourth down, they don't think very much of your defense. So it's like there's two sides to it. Georgia Southern ended up stopping them. Now we'll see what Wofford can do, because that means they got confidence in their defense.
Do you believe in the quick strike after a change in possession like that?
I would play action and throw it deep.
And that's what Clark is doing, rolling to his right and looking toward the end zone. He's got a man, but he's not going to be able to pull up and throw. Brought down after a short gain. Briefly, he had an open receiver in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah, the thing we left out of this is that you have confidence in your defense.
Yes.
To stop the team if you go for it on fourth down. So a lot of confidence, very disciplined defense. You see that it didn't bite on the play action. It had been a really good throw on the run in order for him to squeeze that one in the corner of the end zone.
But you had it right. Play action and roll them out. 2nd and 8 now for the Eagles. 12.5 minutes left in the opening period of play. No score yet here at Paulson Stadium. Clark's got backs in the eye. He will throw immediately to his left, looking at number 19, Tim Camp. And Camp loses the ball. It will be Eagles possession.
I don't know how is that possession when Wofford has the ball.
He held up. Receiver ran up the referee ran up with a 2nd down. And yeah, he's gonna. First down for the Eagles.
And these are two teams that really don't turn the ball over much. They're tied in the nation in turnover margin. So they've done a real good job of holding on to the ball and taking it away. So something has to give today.
There's the Eagles offensive line, and due credit to all those guys anchored by the senior Lance Wayne. They've been starters all the way through. And you see Tim Camp, who was in on that last play. Lamar Lewis getting a lot of play, transfer from Florida State at running back. And when they started the season, it was Covington getting the bulk of the carries, and then things shifted a little bit toward Lewis.
Well, I think Lewis has shown the ability, and Covington has been very good. And I'm not trying to say he's not been very good, but I think what Lewis has given them is that breakaway threat.
Now on the other side for the Terriers, James Gonsolin is a force on the defensive line. They've had so many injuries on the defense for Wofford. It's been just hard to put a lineup together at times. And we'll move right on to the play here. 2nd down and long. And the pitch back to Lewis. Lewis trying to find room on the right side. He gets past the first couple of arm tackle efforts and gets positive yardage out on the right sideline inside the 20-yard line.
One of the first things you see, Mark, is Wofford's a very disciplined defense. They are keeping contained when they should keep contained. They're forcing the back to move its feet and not go north and south. They forced it east and west, and that's a credit to the defense.
And there are the linebacking crew. Horn, Goldwire, Franklin, and Adelman. Adelman, number 56, is one of the guys making big plays for them out there. And Dan Tavani, strong safety, one of the key members of the defensive backfield for Wofford. Shotgun snap to Clark. Snaps that ball right to his left there, but he's behind his receiver looking for number 80, Irving Campbell, but off the mark.
Well, when you see that, and the quarterback will take the brunt of that one because it'll go as incompletion for him, but you can tell that Travis wanted him to stop in the zone, and he kept running through the zone, and it's just one of those communication issues where they have to clean it up, and you would think by this part of the season they'd have that cleaned up.
35-yard field goal attempt, and kicking has not been a high point for the Eagles this year.
Sometimes you're way too nice, Mark.
And the kick is away. It is no good. Oh, another miss for Georgia Southern. Extra points, field goals. It has been rough in the kicking game. And we are still scoreless with 11:10 remaining in the first period. You're watching Southern Conference football on CSS, your source for Southeast sports. We are in Statesboro, Georgia, a scoreless game thus far. I'm Mark Bryant, Tracy Ham with me in the booth, and there you see the Wofford Terriers. And Wofford got the first possession, went on a 4th down, didn't get it. Georgia Southern's opening possession, went for a kick on 4th down and missed the field goal, so that's where we are. Collier lines up behind center, 1st and 10 at his own 20-yard line. Hobbs right behind him, Johnson in motion. Collier rolling, fakes a pitch, and Mooring will bring him down after a gain of about 3. that play never really developed, I think, the way they wanted it
Yeah,
to.
Wofford has to feel good about where they are right now at this stage of the game because they went 4 on 4. The defense held up, which was the third trilogy in that whole process that we went through. Georgia Southern got to be disappointed about the kicking game. They have not really done anything in that area this year. As you see the replay of Collier rolling down, Georgia Southern does a very good job of stringing it out. And that's the fans of Georgia Southern are very familiar with how to defend the option, and they'll get a little tested today about the option.
You think they're going to feel a little homesick, for lack of a better word? Oh, good job for Johnson just to hold on to the pitch, but he can't hold on to his balance.
Yeah, the old Georgia Southern grass got a little too tall for him there. Looked like he was going to be able to get the corner, but once again, Moore was in heavy pursuit. John Moore is a guy that, we talked about him at the top of the show, and he just runs well. He's all over the field. He has a real understanding of how to play the linebacker position.
He's magnetically attracted to the football.
He's attracted to that ball, and I think he has to get some help from other positions today. He has to get some help from his D-line, and also he has to get help from the linebacking position.
You said a key was Wofford getting good yards on first down. They haven't really been able to do that thus far. Collier pitches to Johnson. The third down play is good and close to the marker. It looks like they're going to give him the first down on that spot.
Very good operation there. And, to have to talk about somebody that's running the option against Georgia Southern, I know the fans.
A little weird for you.
A little weird for They did a great job of executing there. Misdirection option. And Collier did a great job of getting the ball out to Peters John.
Now, Wofford, the leading rushing attack in the Southern Conference, and usually it's Georgia Southern and Wofford right there, 1-2. Georgia Southern just a notch below that now because they're not running it as much, but Wofford's still right up at the top.
And what makes it so difficult is the exact set that Georgia Southern used to spread offense.
Johnson goes left, fakes the handoff to Cobb, but Hobbs rather, and it will instead be Collier plunging in for a yard, maybe 2.
Warren right on the tackle again. What's happening now? Georgia Southern's doing a real good job of their defensive line. The entire defensive line is getting penetration, which is the one thing that gives the option a lot of trouble is penetration.
Wofford tries to get Ben Widmeyer, the second-string quarterback, in the game sometimes. They say he throws a better ball than Collier, but that's just not something they're called upon to do a whole heck of a lot.
Well, and I don't think they'll throw the ball too much here going into the win, but you never know about the option. You can run the option, and set people up for a play-action pass.
Johnson in motion again. Collier starts left, brings back right. His pitch to number 18, Dane Romero, from Westchester, Ohio. He looks a little unhappy with the results of that. He probably could have pulled out a couple more yards.
Well, several plays we've seen the ball carriers fall down and with no tackle on them. So it was a case of right here, as he cut upfield, he had a block, should have gotten closer to the first down.
And Morgan's going to get credit for that tackle.
He'll get credit for that
play.
He get credit for when he don't even make the tackle. But he's around the football again.
So here they go on third and between 3 and 4. And Georgia Southern trying to get a motion call on that, but everybody resets. And this is ball's going to go up front, but stuffed right at the marker there. Jeremy Marshall.
What a great tackle by Jeremy Marshall. He stood to run it back up and pushed him backwards. Because had he leaned forward, it would have been a closer clip to the first down marker than it was here.
It's going to be 4th and 2, and they will punt this one. Just a few yards ahead of where they were last time when they went for it.
So nothing's gained or nothing lost here.
Kick is safely away, and number 4, Jason Foster, who can make some things happen, but this time backs off, lets the ball roll to a stop. You know what? The Wofford punter, Chris Tommy, has in 2 years of punting, has never had a kick go in for a touchback on a punt, so his record is still clean now. Scoreless. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast Sports. 7:18 remaining in the first period. These two teams have combined for a whopping 44 yards of offense. It's a sluggish start, but bravo to the defenses for playing sharp. Quick pass to the right side, and this is going to be some positive yards for the Eagles, still fighting for more, and that's going to get the crowd pumped up a little bit.
And Georgia Southern,
number 19, Camp.
Camp did a great job. Georgia Southern offense really seemed to be a little flat to me, Mark. They're not playing with any emotion. The defense is playing emotion. You see the replay, just a little flare out there. You get one block and just rely on the athletic ability of Camp to turn it upfield.
And McCutcheon laid a good block out there, and Camp trying to roll off the tackles. And that's what you like to see, a first down on first down.
First down on first down.
Clark pointing out the defensive shift there, and they protect. And the pass is right where it needs to be at midfield. Found the opening between the levels of the defense to Foster.
And then, you know, I'm a Foster fan. Travis made a very good throw there, as you see here with the play action. Hold the linebackers, throw the ball right behind the linebackers. Very good throw, and a good job of holding on to the ball by Foster.
Yeah, he played that one off his pads a little bit.
Yes, he did.
Still managed to hold on to it. And another first on first, and they're at midfield now, and the Eagles looking a good bit better than they did the last time they had the ball. This time it will be a handoff to Chris Covington, who rolls off first contact, as he often does.
First look at Covington, very physical runner. I think they like to change up between Covington and Lewis. Very physical. Two different styles of running, Mark. Covington is very physical. Lewis is very shifty. And I think defenses really have to adjust to those two styles of running back.
And speaking of defensive adjustments, four key injuries to Wofford's defensive line over the course of the last few weeks have made them force them into a bunch of different formations, shifting looks, and try to do a lot more defense with deception. Clark going long, too long.
Well, the reason why he was long, he was hit by number 45 just as he threw the ball. Number 45, Justin Franklin, did a great job of getting pressure on him. And if you get pressure on the quarterback, really didn't allow him to step into the throw. So good job by Wofford defense. Had a guy open, too.
We've seen Clark look for number 80, Irvin Campbell, a couple times today. Campbell, a junior transfer from Lake Worth, Florida.
They're looking for big plays out of Campbell. I think he's shown some ability, but none of the receivers have really been consistent enough to call him the go-to receiver.
3rd and 3, shotgun snap. And they're coming in for him, and the pass is behind and almost intercepted behind number 18, Michael McIntosh. But the Terriers all over that one, up through the line, out on the coverage.
It is mind-boggling to me. It's 3rd and less than 5. And it's one of those things where you feel like Wofford's only using 3 down linemen. They're bringing a linebacker each time, but you would think Georgia Southern can pound the football on them and give themselves a chance to go for it on 4th down with the field position that they have.
Instead, it's 4th and 3 and punting away. Number 13, Brandon Berry, back deep for the Terriers. He's going to let this one sail over his head into the end zone with the wind. And so the Terriers will have a 1st and 10 at their own 20 in a scoreless tie. 5:46 remaining in the first period. Southern Conference football here on CSS. I want to remind you to catch 9 college football replay games this week on CSS, including a top 25 showdown between Tennessee and LSU. Check out css-sports.com for a complete replay schedule. That Tennessee-LSU game should be quite a...
Who you like in that ball game, Mark?
You know, I like LSU in that ball game because as a Florida grad, I wouldn't mind seeing Tennessee lose another. But I tell you what, that
was way too personal.
That's way too personal. But no, that's going to be a big clash there. Kevius Johnson's running to his left, but he is running all lateral and forced out of bounds.
Great pursuit by the Georgia Southern defense.
And Johnson's picking up speed, but he's not going upfield there.
Well, they got him running east and west, and Georgia Southern's really doing a good job of stringing it out. I thought Hill did a great job of keeping outside containment and not allowing him to turn upfield. Linebackers are running well. Outside containment is so important, and Hill did a great job there, number 24. And
Jason Earwood, great job on pursuit as well. He was right on top of things.
And Earwood really never let him turn the ball north and south by his pursuit.
I wouldn't want to run at Earwood either. I'd find another way. So this is going to be a shotgun snap here for Collier. Going to fake a handoff to Hobbs, do a little pitch to Johnson, who's right next to him, and they're going to get back to the original line of scrimmage.
Well, Georgia Southern has done what they had to do on 1st down. They put them in a very difficult set. And what Wofford does, they put you in what would appear to be a passing formation, and they still run the option. So Georgia Southern has done a good job of doing their homework and recognizing that is a passing set for most teams, but for Wofford, the leading rushing team in the conference, is a running set for them.
So 3rd and long, not the favorite situation for Wofford, to be sure.
We might see our first pass here.
And it is Collier going back to throw. Fires one off and caught. Wow, number 14. Dane Romero had to work at that one a little bit. That ball was trying to eat him up just a tad.
Now, he might not throw much, but that was a great throw by Collier. He threw it over the outstretched arms of the defender and put it right on his numbers. It was just a good throw.
Romero's right at the marker there, pushes for the 1 extra yard he needed, and first down for Wofford. Here's another look.
And you see right there, the defender's right there, just a great throw for Collier. And you got to believe he can throw the ball, and you wonder why they don't throw it much.
Benefield had that marked really well, but Collier on target. Collier will hand off to Hobbs this time. Impacted right in the middle of the line, but still about 3 yards on the play.
Guess who made the tackle?
I think Mooring was involved in that.
That would be a very good guess. Mooring made a great tackle there, stepped up, saw it was a trap, inside trap. He stepped underneath the block, and that's reading your keys. He did a good job of reading your keys. All the action would appear that it was going to be an outside run, but he's watching that right guard, and once he pulled, he stepped right underneath the block.
And so now 2nd and 7, 4.5 minutes to play in quarter number 1. Collier moves Hobbs to his left side, takes a snap, and fakes the handoff to Hobbs. Collier will run to his left where he's got space and fumbles. Rico Zachary tries to get on it. Now the Terriers are trying to flop on it. Who's going to wind up with this one?
I think the Terriers got it back. Well, now under the pile, there's no telling what goes on underneath the pile. The ref is sticking his nose in there.
I'll tell you this, Wofford hasn't lost a fumble in their last 5 games, but that ball was a greased pig out there for the taking.
Georgia Southern had the ball there, just like Wofford had a few series ago. Now the ref are discussing it. You know those referee discussions. What a great hit on the ball there.
And Collier sees it. Zachary, recovered by Wofford, is the call. And you see, God, it could be anybody's in there at that point.
Isn't who come up with the ball is who recovered it?
Yeah.
Like, if you stand up with it, just as Wofford did a few series ago. Well, you got to be disappointed in Zachary there. Just fall on the ball. It's easy to say from up here. But when that ball is bouncing around, you practice that drill, though. You know that drill where everybody hates, where you throw the ball on the ground and you dive on it?
And as we said earlier, they're tied for the national lead, actually, in +10. Their turnover margin is on top of things. Oh, in the backfield, a missed tackle, and still running, number 81, Colby Harris, still going. Lunges, but I believe he was out a bit short. Where are they going to mark him?
He'll be down 3. Great move by Colby Harris. Just bad job of tackling. Sometimes we say a bad job of tackling, but it's really the move is better than the tackle. Right there, just a great move. Got him moving upfield. Ducked underneath him.
Larry Beard with the miss, and look at Harris go. He just shows some great speed there as he finds a lane and shoots up the sideline.
Yeah, and Wofford has to be very happy with where they are now in this game. Going into the wind, they're driving the ball. Got a great break there on the fumble and recovered it, and now they're sitting at the 3-yard line. 1st
and goal to go. Collier will give it to Johnson. Johnson is hammered by Mooring, and then Mooring's friends come in to finish the job.
Yeah, Mooring is doing a real good job of getting his hands and shoulder pads on the back. I think they have to enjoy something to continually get more than one person on the ball carrier.
One more time, you see the backs shifting each different direction, trying to create a little, actually it was Bynum in first. It was 17, not 47. You get so used to seeing 4-7 and then didn't see it was 1-7.
And out here from Bynum, Mike.
Collier to Johnson, and this time Johnson is in. In fact, he was tackled forward into the end zone in part. And so the opening touchdown of the game belongs to the visitors from Spartanburg, the Wofford Terriers.
Well, Wofford has done one of the 3 things that I thought they had to do, and that's score early. They hadn't ran the ball well on 1st down, but they've been able to keep their composure, score early, and put the pressure now squarely on Georgia Southern.
And so the Terriers will try for the conversion. It's up and good, and so the lead belongs to Wofford. 7-0 is our score. One more time, Kevius Johnson into the end zone, our only score of the game. 7-0 Terriers. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports. And with 3:10 remaining in the first, Wofford strikes first. Kevius Johnson, the touchdown, 7-0 for the Terriers over the Eagles. And there come the gold helmets of the Wofford Terriers. And that was an impressive drive.
Very impressive. Georgia Southern had some chance to make play. They had a chance to get a fumble, which is when you're a good turnover margin team, you generally don't let that slip out when you go. But they allowed them to go 8 plays, 80 yards in 2 minutes and 36 seconds with Johnson finishing off with a two-yard touchdown run. But when you have a chance to get a turnover, especially with momentum shifting, you have to make those plays. And Georgia Southern typically has been pretty good at that this year, but today they just...
A 10-yard per play average is something you take every time. And
every time.
Of course, the big play was Colby Harris,
Yeah.
number 81, with the big gainer on that one. So Foster is going to try and take this one right up the gut. He's got room. He gets through to the last couple of men, and it is finally number 48, Charles Buck Brown, on the tackle. But Foster pumped up, and justifiably so, because answering that touchdown by putting his team in good field position.
Certainly, Foster has been in all this transitioning of offense as you watch him. And the key to any good kickoff return is lane, picking the right lane. And you can see he picked the right lane. He does a very good job of maneuvering his way in and out with a lot of traffic around him. But I think when on the 40-yard return, but I think Foster's been very good in his whole transition because he's certainly still one of the better athletes on the field.
Backs in the eye, 2 receivers left, and this will be Lewis. He's got room on the left side. And he will be forced down close to a first down. Looks like he got 10-plus yards on the opening carry of this drive.
And Georgia Southern has not been a bad running football team, and that's why I don't understand why Georgia Southern, as we watch Lewis here run the ball, great blocking by the offensive line who don't get a lot of credit. And as he sticks it up downfield, get a great block from the wide receiver. But when you're on 3rd and 3, and then you come out and throw the ball, it seemed to me that you would be able to control the line and run the ball.
It was a good block by this fullback, Sean Gray, to seal that opening and get him out of there. Otherwise, he might have been in trouble from the beginning of the play.
Just when I get the offensive line all the credit and come back and Georgia Southern comes back and get 1 yard on the next play. But Georgia Southern offensive line has done a very good job this year protecting the quarterback. They've been very good because when you make a transition, you got to remember, Georgia Southern recruited for option-type players. Now they've gone to more pass-oriented.
There's the numbers on Lamar Lewis. You see he's averaging 5 yards a carry. He's got 6 touchdowns, 105 rushes, 580 yards. The old system wouldn't take long to get those numbers.
Wouldn't take long to get that because you get them in space.
Lewis does have room on the right side. He gets close to the marker again, about a yard short at the 35-yard line of Wofford.
Well, one thing that's happening here is Wofford's in a 3-4 defense where they have 3 down linemen. And you can see Georgia Southern, as we go to the replay, Georgia Southern really do a good job of getting to the next level. When you only have 3 down linemen, you can get to the next level. They have a nose guard and two defensive tackles, and then they generally bring more pressure by walking one of the linebackers up on the outside. They always bring in 4, but what they're trying to do is make Georgia Southern guess where they're bringing their 4th guy from.
3rd and short. Clark sends Camp in motion. The ball will go to Covington, left side and first down. Mauled by a couple of Terriers there, but the ball to the 30 of Wofford.
And with all the defensive linemen that Wofford has lost for the year, you would think that you can run the ball back on them. And so you got to give Wofford defense credit because they've been able to continue to put people on the field defensively as they come up and make the tackle here. They've continued to put defensive players on the field that has kept them in ball games.
Berry and Tavani in on the tackle. Corner and safety up on that one. And so now Clark takes a snap and throws immediately to his right to Camp. We'll get a gain of 3 or 4. Not a lot going on that, but a little space, and that'll set up a 2nd and 6.
And that's about the 4th time Georgia Southern has run that play, so you can see that that's one of the plays that they want to try to get somebody in space. They've ran it to Camp and trying to get him in space, and I like to see him run it to Foster.
Is it possible that a play like that is also being used repeatedly to set up a play that looks like that? I know that you can do that with some things, but I don't know if they're trying to exploit something in the Wofford defense or trying to create something.
Well, Wofford is very disciplined. I think anytime you have a disciplined ball club, you really just got to keep watching and see if it goes.
And so the first quarter comes to a close with the score 7-0 Wofford. We'll be right back on CSS, your source for Southeast sports. 7-0 the score at the beginning of the second quarter here in Statesboro, Georgia. Mark Bryant, Tracy Ham with me in the booth. And Tracy, one of the key things here, a lot of games going from one quarter to the next isn't going to make a big difference, but when the wind is blowing like this, it very well could.
Yeah, you would think Georgia Southern want to create a faster tempo with the wind as opposed when you're not with the wind, and a great play by
Lewis, driven back by Michael Combest, number 60. He's just all over that play.
Yes, and Georgia Southern had no answer for that play there. Well, when you're with them, we'll finish the point about the wind. When you're going with the wind, you want to create a tempo that you get more plays with the wind, as opposed when you go against the wind, you want to slow it down and methodically. And that it almost put, I thought I saw you yawn, so you might have been about to go to sleep watching the game, but Wofford got the tempo.
Not I.
Wofford got the tempo exactly where they wanted at. Now let's see if they pick it up, and let's see how Georgia Southern handles going into the wind.
Lewis goes out wide right. Clark alone back there is going to look to his right, and he's going to find Foster. Spins off the first tackle and ducks around the second. He is exciting every time he touches it.
You know, and I've been a fan of Foster's from day one, and you can see one guy very rarely tackles him. And so as you watch it, it's just a quick swing in the flats. And as you see, just a nice little dump off in the flats. And so he makes one guy miss. That's one. Let's count them. That's 2, 3. The fourth guy finally gets him. If he had a little more sideline, he probably would have taken it up the sideline. So you can see that he has the ability to create, and I do not understand how you cannot get him the ball as much as he can stand it.
And he gets it right to the marker on this one. They're going to measure.
And with that play, he gives them a chance to go for it on fourth down.
And let's have a look here. He's got it.
First down. So he makes the fourth guy finally tackles him. It should have been, and it has to drive the Wofford staff crazy because they probably remember the days when he was at quarterback, and they'll take that one. So he has the ability to really create a difference in the game.
There are the numbers from the first quarter, and anything jump right out at you, Tracy, out of that?
Well, Georgia Southern is continuing to trend on third down. They're 1 for 3 right off the bat. So third down is continuing to be a problem for them.
Lewis up the middle. Could get a few out of that.
Yeah,
to start for first down, and they're in the red zone.
In the red zone, I think one of the things that has really baffled the Georgia Southern fan is they want to know what are they trying to do what is Georgia Southern trying to do on offense.
Well, after a quarter century of everyone knowing what they were trying to do, changing this to the multiple looks and all that, you think that they don't really have an identity for what the fans expect?
Yeah, I mean, no one knows what we throw on third, and Georgia Southern throws on 3rd and 3, and you never know. So, and then they run on 2nd and 8. So you're trying to figure out Wofford. Wofford runs the football. You know they're going to run it. You know you're going to get a steady dive to run it. Then all the football people come up with these terms, multiple offense, or multiple, but you have no identity. And I think that's all everybody's looking for from Georgia Southern is what will your identity be? What are you going to do? You're going to throw the ball, or are you going to run the ball?
And a little look there, Coach Van Gorder, Brian Van Gorder, in his first year with the program. He'd like to see them run the table, finish with a winning record. That's what they're going to have to do to get there. Clark looking end zone, ball is tipped, and once it's tipped, they can hit relentlessly, and that's what they do. But it looked almost like the Terrier got the worst of the impact.
Yeah, and when you look at Travis and his ability to read defense, when you drop him straight back in the pocket, you're forcing him to read the whole field. And here, the read should have pushed him. If he's reading the whole field, the read should have pushed him to the wide side. And you'll see, if you look at the wide side, you'll see the back open in the flat, and right off the bat he goes weak. And you know what pushes him weak, because there's 4 guys around 1.
And he's looking for McIntosh, and it was number 10, Brian Ford, out of Wildwood, Georgia, playing for Wofford, making the smack on McIntosh on that play. But instead, it's going to be 4th and 4. They are going, spreading the field wide with 5 wide receivers. Clark throws to his right. He's got a man, and he's got a first down. My goodness. Rajah Andrews.
And I think someone has to help Travis Clark out. They have to make plays for him. It was a good throw. You got to be able to depend on his receivers. You're going to put those wide receivers out there. You got to be able to depend on him. He made a good throw, good low throw, and Roger Andrews catches
that
the ball.
That ball tried to jump out.
Come out, so good decision.
So first and goal at the 6 for the Eagles, trying to find the equalizer. Covington dropped right after getting his hands on the ball. He gets a yard maybe.
And when you look at it, and it go back to my point, what Georgia Southern is trying to establish? Are they trying to establish the run? Are they going to be a passing? Or if you throw in a passing situation, it really puts a lot of pressure on your offensive unit as to where if you throw in a running situation. So I think it really would be interesting to see as this team takes on Van Gorder's personality, what are they going to be? You know, what would we say when you say Georgia Southern? You can say, okay, they're going to be a running team.
That's Dane Jensen down on one knee for the Eagles. And looks like the phrase slow to get up, so it only begins to describe the situation for Jensen there. He looks a little uncomfortable.
Well, it looked like his ankle was rolled by the running back Covington there as he was cut down by the defender and rolled his ankle. Jensen
will be able to get off the field, but clearly not pleased about his situation.
When you're that big and your ankle hurts, it's tough, man, because everything comes right down to your ankle.
So they'll tend to him on the sideline, and Clark retakes the field. 12:05 remaining in the first half of play, and the Eagles knocking on the door. I have not found a score yet.
And you have to watch the tight end in these situations. Wouldn't be surprised if Georgia Southern ran a play action, throw it into tight end.
Clark rolling left, will pitch to Covington, and there's nothing but Terriers out there, and that includes number 56, Kevin Adelman, coming up from the secondary.
That was a bad-looking option.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite like the old days, is it?
That was a speed option, but Travis never allowed the defender to take him. He pitched the ball out there and it created a problem for the running back, so nobody ever took the quarterback then.
4-yard loss, third, and call it 11. Third and goal from just outside the 10.
And it's really tough in this neck of the field, on this part of the field, to throw the ball in this zone because it really gets tight down there.
Andrews, Camp, Smiley, Foster are the wide receivers. Camp goes in motion. Clark will roll to his right, throw back to his left. He's lucky to get that one to Camp, and Camp will not get to the end zone. He'll get to about the original line of scrimmage from that set of downs, the 6-yard line.
I think if the throw wouldn't have been tipped, it'd probably been an easy walk in the end zone. But once the throw was tipped, it allowed the defense to really react to the play.
And so that brings a kicking situation, and again, that has been trouble for Georgia Southern.
That's an understatement. If you watch here, the ball is tipped. Right there, that really threw off the play, and he did good to catch the ball there.
Camp did a good job just not dropping to a knee to catch the ball, which would have ended the play effectively right there as well. So here is a 25-yard attempt for number 48, Patrick Boland.
And it's been a problem for Georgia Southern all year, kicking the ball.
And it's up and away. It is good. The Eagles are on the board. The fans cheer the field goal and wonder what might have been on that goal-to-go situation. It is 7-3, Wofford out in front of Georgia Southern with 10 minutes and 11 seconds left in the first half. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports. 7-3 is our score. Paulson Stadium getting a fine look there at the Gene Bishop Fieldhouse at the end. There's the scoring drive for the Eagles, and the good news is they got 3. The bad news is for the Eagles they did not get the 7. They
had a very good chance. Have you been in the Gene Bishop Fieldhouse?
I have not.
We have to stroll in there. It's a very, very nice facility.
Kick is up and away to Johnson and Berry fighting over it, and Johnson fumbles, and they're still struggling over who was going to pick it up. They're going to wind up down at the 5.
Never good to fight over the ball. It's kind of like me and my brother used to fight over, and he'd always get it.
Someone's got to call Sames there, don't you?
You got to call it.
Oh, my goodness. Coach Ayers has got to be pulling hair out on that one, because you cannot respond to giving up a score, field goal or touchdown, with a bad special team.
Well, it looked like Kivas was actually calling for it, and you generally have one of the return guys are responsible for all the communication. You never have 2 guys that can communicate. You always have one that's in charge. And my brother was the one that was in charge.
Aha! So the ball is on the 8, and Collier will actually take it in a shotgun and keep it himself, and met by 3 Eagles for no gain.
Georgia Southern defense is doing a really good job on first down. It's been their third down. They hadn't been able to contain them. On the last drive, they went 8 plays for 80 yards. They really couldn't contain them on third down, so we'll see if Georgia Southern does a better job here.
Earwood and Solomon in on the tackle. I believe Benefield as well. So 7-3 Terriers leading. They got to get away from their own end zone right now. Collier pitches over to 18. That's Romero. And Romero, a little displeased. He couldn't quite get the corner. But that's the good pursuit of Georgia Southern.
That's been very good pursuit. Their defense is actually pursuing very well. You can see where once you make that go east and west, make that play go east and west for a few steps, it allows. 91 did a great job, Sherrod. That was a great job of stretching the play, not allowing him to turn up.
And it looked like Kevius Johnson was trying to find his block on that one and wound up on the ground himself. So that didn't exactly
never
open
good
up any,
when your block is on the ground.
No, that didn't open up any lanes for the Terriers that time around. 8.5 minutes left in the half, and 3rd and 5 to go. Collier drops back to throw. Pressure coming from his right side. The ball drops short and almost picked off. And the Terriers will have to punt this one away.
Well, once again, anytime you get pressure on the quarterback and you get a lick on him as he throws, you get an opportunity to make the ball come up short. It happened to Travis Clark when he was throwing, and it just happened to Collier as he tried to throw the ball. Had a guy open, but was not allowed to get it there.
And Earwood almost came up with that one, number 52. Saw him coming off the field. Great job by the Eagles defense and special teams, getting on the ball at first and then snuffing it out. Punting from his own end zone is Chris Tommy. And booms that one away. Nice job, actually. Drives Foster back to his own 30. He's going to try it up the right side and bringing it back toward the middle to about the 43-yard line of Georgia Southern. And that's where the Eagles will begin their next possession with 8:09 remaining in the second quarter. 7-3 Wofford on top. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports. 7-3 Terriers ahead of the Eagles. Southern Conference football. Wofford 4-4 on the year, and Georgia Southern a disappointing 3-5 and trying to avoid only their second losing season in 25 years of football. Foster in at quarterback will hand off to Covington up the middle. It's a race, and it looks like he's going to win it to the end zone. The Eagles are up in this game. How about that?
I was looking for your heat. Could go all the way, and I was missing that from you, Mark.
They got the touchdown. That's what counted. If you wanted Foster to touch the ball more, that time they put him in at quarterback.
Well, it just changes the 57-yard run there by Covington. It's just a great job of just explode up the middle, call him off guard, I think. And anytime Foster's in the game, people protect that perimeter of the game. And so he was allowed then to take it up the middle. And you know Foster can run that. Well, we know Foster can run the option. And just doing
Covington can run the ball.
Covington run the ball, yes.
That was a great shot, and the extra point is good, so it will be 10-7. Georgia Southern out in front, and the fans respond because they know they want to see their team out in front of these Terriers. So 10-7 is our score, and the experts weigh in Monday on Sports Night. NFL expert Victor Green recaps Sunday games, and NASCAR analyst Dan Elliott talks about the race at Texas Motor Speedway. Catch it on Sports Night Monday at 6 and 11 on CSS.
And Mark, that racing is really heating up, man. Those guys are getting a little testy.
It's the chase,
It's
man.
the chase. Well, I was just adding up Foster, and I've been a fan of Foster from the day one he's walked on Georgia Southern campus, but he's touched the ball 3 times for 43 yards. 1 punt return, 14 yards, 2 receptions, 29 yards. And so there he's at quarterback, and they go 57 yards. You can add him to that category because he touched the ball, and he made a good decision on giving it. It looked like it was a pure triple option there. And
it was a great shot for the Georgia Southern fans out there because all you saw was Covington streaking toward the end zone with one gold helmet after another, just trying to get behind him, trying to chase him down.
And I think that's what Covington has really grown into the type of player that they want. Now he's taking the ball the distance instead of getting chased down.
So a quick score there for the Eagles, and suddenly it's 10-7. Changes things around a little bit. And the kickoff with Johnson and Barry back there, and he tries a squibber, see what this does, and Barry will pick it up, running to his right, picking his spots and getting out to about the 30-yard line.
Well, if you go back to the keys, and I'm trying to put myself up here, big plays. Georgia Southern got big plays. They need big plays to win because it just shortens the field for them. It doesn't allow them to have to go 80 yards without making a mistake, and that's important for a team that's struggling.
And you see Covington's numbers now, 6 for 68, but 57 of it was on one carry.
His
so you
numbers
know they were
always
struggling
jump
a little,
out there quickly. You know, he does a great job of just escalating his numbers on 1 or 2 runs.
7:25 in the half, and Collier will hand off to number 6, Adrian Young. And getting a quick glance at the scoreboard. The other Southern Conference games today have not yet kicked off. Furman's at Elon and Citadel visiting App State. Jacksonville State is at Chattanooga. Those are all later today in the SoCon.
The team that has surprised me the most in the conference has to be Western Carolina. I thought they'd have a very good football team, a very good chance to compete for the conference championship, and they have not been able to.
Collier will pitch to Johnson. Johnson tries to evade Mooring, but nothing doing. You can't do it.
He can't do it. He has not been able to do it. He does a great job of tackling the ball. That in linebackers, you want linebackers. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small as you watch it. He runs well. He reads immediately and takes off, and he tackles the football well.
You could really see he was pacing the play to the left, and as soon as the pitch was clear, he bolted right at the ball, and the ball carrier.
And what you do to a running team is you put them in third and long situations. And Georgia Southern has done that most of the day here.
Collier back to throw. Going to get pressure in his face from the right side. The throw, the man was well marked on the right side. Brandon Jackson was all over the wide receiver, incomplete, and they're going to have to give up the ball one more time.
He had a chance to intercept the ball there. Brandon Jackson did, and that's a good defensive stance. But the problem for Wofford was that they were in third and long. And I think, again, and they've been in third and long most of the day. And I think you put them in third and long, you got a better chance to stop them.
With the incomplete pass, the clock stopped at 6:06 in the second quarter. And Chris Tommy will punt the ball away to Jason Foster. Gets the ball at his own 20, bobbles it, but manages to recover and find some room. Going right, now up the middle between the hashes to about the 42. Almost a disaster, but instead, another great return.
Another great return. Almost a disaster, then almost a very, very big play. But Jason Foster has been very, very consistent when he's touched the ball.
And so with the score 10-7 Eagles, Georgia Southern with the ball. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports. Georgia Southern leading Wofford 10-7. Here's another look at Jason Foster. Ball. Got it. Okay. Control on the third or fourth touch. And then he just changes direction, and now it's on.
Well, the wind
Foster ball at that point.
The wind is playing a real factor in the kicking game. You can see him moving around to try to get under the ball. But one of the statistics we've been tracking up here is the third down situation for Wofford, and they've been third and long on several situations.
Foster in at quarterback, and he does pitch right to Lewis. Lewis finds a host of Terriers out there. He'll have a gain of 4, close to 5.
Good first down play. And I think that's something that Wofford wanted to do, was establish first down. And the difference between Foster running the option and Clark running the option is Foster makes a defender take him. And it's not fair for us to compare the two running the option. But Foster makes the defender take him because I don't think he really wants to give the ball up.
It's interesting for Coach Van Gorder to make this change, to see this offense run this way right now. Is that a wind thing, or is that a change, something maybe he sees in the defense?
Well, I think it's a good strategy. I think it's another way to get Jason Foster on the ball. It's a windy day. We're going into the wind, so it could be a wind strategy. Not a bad strategy. It's adjusting to what you think.
Clark is going to go back out there now. I know Clark had taken a couple digs. There's some booing in the crowd. Very clear.
Booing in the crowd. First time I've heard that in Statesboro, Georgia. I've heard it on the road, but not in Statesboro.
That was well defined. Clark went out to retake the field at quarterback, and the fans began to boo. The pass is behind and incomplete. Tried to get to Urban Campbell on 3rd down and 4.
And that's tough for Clark to come off the bench and then make a strike. I mean, he was open. He just missed the throw. And that's a tough situation, and that's probably why some of the boos coming out.
Well, missing that there, if we have a similar situation later in this game where we see them switch out Foster for Clark, we're going to probably hear that louder here next time.
Now, I do know Coach Van Gorder well enough that he's not going to coach according to the cheers or the boos of the crowd. He's going to coach the team to what he feels like is going to give them the best chance to win. And fans don't always agree with that, or commentators.
Well, what we really need to see is how Clark responds to it. I know Van Gorder could care less what some of the sound effects, but the young man behind center is going to be more to the question.
Certainly. And then when you have an opportunity to make plays, the right play was called, but Georgia Southern was not able to execute. And I think that's been one of the things that has hindered the offense, executing at a critical 3rd down stage of the game. And now Georgia Southern is 2 for 7 on 3rd down.
And the Eagles, who have the lead, trying to protect it with that strong defense. The defense has really answered the call today. Pitch to the right side to Johnson and tripped up, and a good thing there, Bynum got a little piece of him because there was a lot of yards ahead of him there.
Bynum make the play, but Rico Zachary's out of position. If you watch Rico here, he should just go and take the pitch. He's standing there, go and take the pitch. Either he has the pitch or the quarterback, and he's not taking either one, so he's null and void on the play. So he's really in space doing nothing.
3.5 minutes in the half, and Wofford with the ball trying to take the lead back. Collier will throw to his right side, and he's got a man out there and a 1st down. Nicely done by the Terriers. It appeared to be the tight end, Finn Allen.
But the key was their 1st down success. Their 1st down success allowed them to play action on 2nd down, flip the tight end, right behind the linebacker. Just a nice throw by the quarterback, nice easy throw by the quarterback. And you can see Benefield out of position there. You can always see the defender that's out of position when you do the replay.
3:22 now, 1st and 10. Terriers at their own 43, and Collier will show throw again, and this time he's going to be brought down. Number 98, Brandon Daniel with the sack.
Good pressure by Georgia Southern, and that's what they have to do is get pressure. And you can see Wofford really wanted to mix it up, play action on 1st down, which everybody would think is a running down. And I like people throwing the ball. I like Wofford throwing the ball on a running down. You can see good play action, but the pressure was just too great for him.
Yeah, you could see he really beat number 54, Ben Quick, the guard, and Daniel all over Collier on that play.
I'm going to let you call the play now. It's 2nd and 16.
They'll do a pitch and try to run it out wide and give him a shorter 3rd down play, I would expect.
Let's see, yeah.
And there they go.
Right.
But the defense knows it too. And so there you go. They're not going to get anything on that play. Perhaps a loss of 1.
Great call, partner.
Well, thank you very much.
Great call. Just testing your football skills here, and I've taught you well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Obi-Wan. Player down on the field is, oh dear, that's going to hurt for the Eagles if Rico Zachary is seriously hurt. And face down into the grass is never the position you want to see your man.
Yeah, because
they're going to roll him over.
Really doesn't taste well.
No. He is gripping the face mask, and that's usually a sign that something is hurting pretty bad at the moment.
I always hated to be down on cold days. On the hot days you can wipe the sweat out your face, but on cold days, if you see here, let's see if we can find out. Look like he got clipped from behind.
A little shot in the back and knocked to the turf.
That's a little wake-up call in case he was cold. They thought they'd warm him up a little.
Bells are ringing maybe a little bit for Rico, but manages to get off the field under his own power.
That's always good to see.
And so 2:28 to go, 10-7 Eagles out in front. Wofford with the ball. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast Sports. 2:28 left in the first half of play. Georgia Southern on top, 10-7. Wofford's got they got a 3rd and forever. They got a play they got to pull out of their books here on 3rd and 17 after the loss on 2nd and long.
And it's really dangerous time for the Wofford offense. It's 3rd and long. You really don't want to force your way trying to throw the ball to the stick. You want to get it into somebody's hands that can catch and run with the ball, maybe run for the 1st down, but you don't want to get caught in a situation where you're trying to throw the ball to the sticks. having the quarterback hold on to it. You can see they run a little inside trap there.
Collier under center hands the ball off quickly to number 6, Adrian Young. Not much there. And so the Terriers will be content.
Well, it really was a good, safe call. You can see it's an inside trap here. You can see the guard trapping, number 61 trapping right there. Good inside play. Thought maybe catch George Southern in a prevent defense, but you didn't really want to do anything that could cause you to turn the ball over or put yourself in bad position.
Chris Tommy punting with the wind. Jason Foster back deep. He is at his own 16-yard line. Minute and a half left in the period. Georgia Southern still with 3 timeouts. That they were playing for another possession. One would think they might have wanted a timeout going into this play. A lot of clock ran off. Foster will let it go, and it will roll all the way into the end zone, and that's a first, folks. That's the first punt Chris Tommy has had go for a touchback in 2 years kicking for the Wofford Terriers. So a little team history for the club from Spartanburg there. And Tommy had a perfect record up to that point.
And it was a
62-yard punt.
Wow.
And Foster helped create that touchback because he let that hit and roll, and it just kept going.
And I think it's the wind that's playing a key factor in there. It's moving around. Don't want to do anything back there. That as we look at the remaining schedule for Georgia Southern.
That's what the Eagles have left, and you know, Furman, another tough conference game, and the Arkansas game there. Foster gets the ball on a little end around, going back to the left side, and good yardage there, about 8, maybe 9 yards.
When he looked like he has nothing, he always get very good positive yards. Just seemed like that time, it seemed like he got small to get through the gap there to run. If you understand what I mean by get small, you know how to get small.
Steve Martin used to have a routine about getting small, didn't he? No, he gave him less to hit, is what he did.
Yeah,
but clearly no sense of urgency for the Eagles, content to go in 10-7 because they've just been letting the clock roll on down. Well, 24 seconds now.
And you'll probably see another handoff here just to get out the half.
Up the gut to Lewis. He will get his first down.
Well, I think the play they ran was the reverse there was the play to see if they could get something going, and that didn't materialize, so they just content to go in at half at a 10-7 lead.
They won't need to snap it again. The clock will roll now that it's set, and a bunch of the Eagles already tromping off to the locker room, and that will do it for the first half of play. Georgia Southern 10, Wofford 7 as the first half ends here. A beautiful but cool, brisk day in Statesboro. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports. The third quarter is about to begin in Statesboro. Wofford 7 on the board for the Terriers. Georgia Southern 10 points and the lead for the Eagles. And we talked at the beginning of the game, Tracy, about your keys to the game here, and for the Terriers, some of it's working, some of it may not be.
Well, and one is with that key to running the ball, it was running the ball well on first down. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they've done a very good job on first down. They scored early, but they couldn't hold on. And so Travis really hadn't been a big factor because they found other ways to get Foster the ball.
And the other side for the Eagles, how would you grade them?
And Georgia Southern has actually stopped the run well on first down. And converting on third down is a little misleading because Georgia Southern has several situations where they got 10 yards on first down. So their third down stats is a little misleading. And they've gotten big plays. They've gotten big plays out of different people on the field today. So they've done a pretty good job. And I think that's why no one has done a real outstanding job, but that's why we're at 10-7 and not a whole bunch of scoring.
One thing that's I noticed that's pretty outstanding from my perspective is no penalties in this game for either side. So clean football, and they're just kind of going at each other. I think it was a little sluggish at the start, but each team has found sort of where they're going to play today.
And both teams are playing like middle of the pack teams, kind of playing sluggish, playing to the other team's tempo, and you really would like to see one team just take over the ball game and establish themselves as the dominant team.
Maynard and Andrews back deep, and Maynard will take it in the end zone, and that's going to be a touchback as that ball launches in the wind almost all the way out of the end zone.
And we'll see if this is a factor. Georgia Southern is going into the win the third quarter, so meaning they'll have the win in the fourth quarter, and we'll see if it comes down to a field goal or field position thing, will the win be a factor?
I know a lot of Eagles faithful may not feel too comfortable if it goes to a kick, just simply because that's been, well, kind of
a nightmare.
Well, you said that, not me. But yeah, a trouble spot this year, to say the least. Clark will give it to Lewis, and he bounces off the first tackle, rolls forward for 3 yards. Again, it's Lamar Lewis, running back, a transfer, Florida State transfer from Jacksonville.
And you can see Georgia Southern coming back out trying to establish the run. So I want to say they're trying to establish the run, but as soon as I say that, we'll pop a pass in there on 3rd down when it's a running situation. So I think they really want to control the line of scrimmage, though.
They're trying to make the core of this offense, the 2 transfers there, the great explorers, Lewis and Clark. But we'll see if they can find their way down the field. Quick pass to left to Andrews, who pulls away from first contact, gets positive yards, gets about 3 to make it 3rd and 3 upcoming.
Now, if you're a running team, 3rd and 3 is a real makeable situation. But if you're a passing team, you kind of caught in that window of do you throw underneath, do you throw the quick screen? So this is where Georgia Southern has really struggled at. And it's another 3rd down.
Say, what if you don't know which you are?
Right, and that's what I think that's what needs to be established from the offensive side of the ball.
Number 4, Foster on the field. I know that always makes you feel a little bit better about their chances on a given play.
But you go to a no-back offense, and so look like they're going to blitz it. And
Terriers threatened, coming from both sides, and that is the 5th sack of the year against the Eagles. 8 games, only 4 sacks allowed, best in the country, and hammered on a big 3rd down play.
And you can't blame the offensive line for giving up that sack. And you can see here they brought more than they could block. You can see right there they have more, and he comes untouched. And so really you have to get adjustment out the receiving core, or he has to throw the ball away.
Kyle Horn, the outside linebacker, makes the play, and there was no doubt about that when he drove right through Clark.
And you can see it coming from here. You can see that they understood it. Anytime, that's one of the adjustments you can tell that they've made. If they go to the no-back set, we're going to bring more than they can block.
The high snap and the punt got off. It was reasonably short kick, but a good roll. And so with that, the Terriers will take the ball at their own 39, trailing 10-7. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports. Georgia Southern out on top, 10-7, 12:35 left in the 3rd quarter. A windy, cool day in Statesboro, Georgia. And the Wofford Terriers with the ball, and Collier going to throw. Right side and low, caught. He brought that ball up a little bit. He probably would have gotten the 1st down out of it. Instead, it'll be 2nd and 2.
And, Mark, you can start seeing some of the adjustment that Wofford has decided to take coming out of the break. They're saying, look, we're not running the ball well on 1st down, so we're going to just they're expecting us to run it, so we're going to go and throw the little hitch pass, even though he didn't keep the ball up, but it's an 8-yard, so now they can do essentially what they want on 2nd down here.
Diving rolling catch for Andy Strickland, and the ball will be pitched out to the right side. Kevius Johnson, a little slip there as he tries to put the moves on Bynum. He'll be pushed out to the sideline and into Eagle territory.
Yeah, once again, Georgia Southern has a guy out in space that does nothing. He doesn't take the quarterback nor the pitch back. And that time, it was number 22, Benefield. He takes nobody. So he's a non-entity in the play. If he would just take the quarterback, take it, and make him make a pitch under pressure.
Defending the option is all about assignments and sticking with them, and maybe it's not always working. Snuffed out on a simple run up the middle there. No gain for the Terriers as Mooring and company help shore up the middle.
Well, you can see that Georgia Southern has decided to not allow Wofford to run the ball on 1st down. Now, Wofford can throw the ball and get what they want on 1st down, but they're not going to be able to run the ball on 1st down.
So 2nd and 10, close to 11, almost a loss of a yard on that play. Collier back to throw again, looking to his right side, past the outstretched arms of the defender, and a good play there for the Terriers. Nice effort by Benefield with a lunge, but just beyond his reach. The completion to number 81, Colby Harris.
See, now I see the adjustment Wofford has made after halftime, but I didn't see the adjustment that Georgia Southern made after halftime with their offense. And so when you come out of a halftime situation, you want to be able to see the adjustments that's being made. I can clearly see what Wofford has decided to do, but I haven't been able to do that with Georgia Southern offense, so we'll see if that changes.
There's Collier by the numbers. 4 of 6 passing. Pitch to the left is Strickland. He's going to string it out and manages to tiptoe the sideline for a first down.
Nice job by the Wofford offense, sealing everybody, keeping the corner free. That time he was able to turn the corner and get downhill. As you see here, very good play. You'll see several Georgia Southern defenders go underneath block, and that's one underneath, 2 underneath. That's the wrong play to go if you're a defender. You always want to go over top and not allow the offensive player the corner.
There's a close look at number 17, Strickland from Gaffney, South Carolina. Didn't travel far to go play for the Spartanburg-based Terriers. Collier will pitch to Johnson, trying to find the right side. Bynum trips him up just enough, but a gain of 5.
Very good offensive play, and I think that's what Wofford really want to do. They want to get 5 yards on first down, and that creates several situations that they can do on second down. And Georgia Southern has not made one adjustment, and I'm a little surprised that they have not made that. They have not allowed the outside, well, in this case, it's a strong safety. That time it was Benefield to not either take the quarterback or the pitch back on the option.
The second down play, Collier will put it right into the gut of Hobbs, who will get close to a first down. He's right at it, probably a half yard short.
You know, Mark, I think that's what makes the game so interesting is once a coach establishes what they're going to do to you, then you counter it, you know. And so here, as we go to the replay, you'll see where Wofford really wants to run the ball. It's just a straight handoff dive up the middle. But it was 2nd and 5, and if they got 4 yards, so now they're in a 3rd and 1 situation.
Collier has 2 wides to try and spread the defense, keeps it himself, and nobody lays a hand on him. Touchdown, Wofford Terriers.
You know, just a great coaching job by Coach Ayers and his staff and the adjustments that they made, and they were just really clearly defined. As I watched the game, you can see them in the adjustments that they wanted to make.
So whose assignment is Collier here?
Well, you can see the
anyone.
Benefield does not take the quarterback. That time, Benefield played the pitchback, which is, it appears to be where Bynum was going. If we can get that replay up once again, you'll see where Bynum was going to the pitchback. You'll see Bynum going to the pitchback, but Benefield decides to take the pitchback. So no one has really been assigned. They don't seem to clearly define who's assigned to who.
One more look as we go to break. The Terriers have regained the lead. It is 14-10. Wofford out in front. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports. 14-10 our score now. Wofford out in front. Wofford took the 7-0 lead. Georgia Southern answered with 10 points to take it away, and Wofford just took it back and did so in style. Josh Collier runs in untouched for the TD. Kickoff goes all the way through the end zone. Chris Tommy enjoying the tailwind today.
Yeah, as you can tell, that's the kicker's dream is to get. But then on the flip side, fourth quarter, he'll be kicking into the wind, and so you enjoy it while you have it.
10:24 to play in the third quarter. Now, what do the Eagles come out with here? Is the million-dollar question, right?
Well, they have to establish what they're trying to accomplish. They're not really. They're in a 2-1 set. They're 2 receivers to one side and no tight end. So we'll see if they, play action. They're going into the wind, so
Clark will roll right. Skip pass into his receiver, Campbell.
And the wind is not that great so that it should affect his throws. Clark is just not throwing the ball well. When you look at it, the guy, when he come out, he was wide open. Get rid of the ball. He had time to get rid of the ball with no pressure. And so good call by the official. It did skip on the ground. So Georgia Southern really hadn't established what they want to do. And so that, in turn, has not allowed them to be consistent at anything.
Campbell tried to sell the catch. The officials were not buying. By the way, the head referee today is Riley Johnson Jr., and normally I'd have had plenty of opportunities to mention his name by now, but no penalties in the game. So the officials staying in the background today. Clark hands off to Lewis. Lewis rolls off first contact, finds room on the right side, gets through a hole, and is out past the 40-yard line. Exceptional run by number 6, Lewis.
And we'll keep an eye as that play goes. Foster's on the sideline warming up. Not a quarterback controversy, but you'll see him warming up on the sideline. But here was just a great move by Lewis, just really picking his hole. Just a zone play. He's able to pick his hole because the right side really crashed the defensive line down. He had an opportunity to pick his spot there.
And look Lewis has got that dangling belt or towel, or it looks like he's playing flag football. That thing's waving in the breeze. Covington, the lone back now. Foster among the wide receivers. Covington will get the ball. Finds his hole on the right side. It closes quickly. The Terrier defense rallies to the point of contact and a gain of about 2.
Well, Georgia Southern, once again, we've talked about it from the start, and we'll probably talk about it till the finish. What are they trying to establish? Are they trying to establish the ground game? They come out on 1st and 10 and throw the ball. And they come out on 2nd and 10 and run the ball. Here on 1st and 10, they run the ball. So, it's hard to tell what they're trying to accomplish. And now we're in shotgun in the 4-receiver set, so they're really all over the place when you look at their formation.
And it will be a handoff to Covington again. Plows through about midfield. Certainly they're trying to mix it up to keep the defense guessing, but you're saying it's the end result is also just is keeping the offense guessing.
Right, and that play would be a play that would scare the Wofford defense if Travis Clark was a running quarterback. So everybody's keying on the running back in that situation. You can see Van Gorder, he's probably getting a little frustrated because he wants his offense to be more productive, as all coaches do want the offense to be productive, but Georgia Southern has not been consistent offensively this year.
3rd down play, 3rd and 6. Clark back to pass, looking downfield off the hands of Foster. What might have been there for the Eagles?
Might have been tough catches. Surely you expect Foster to make. He just didn't make the play. But Travis put the ball in the position that his receiver can catch it. But I don't like the ball high over the middle because that's always trouble. When you look at that ball over the middle like that, that's always trouble. But he had a chance to catch the ball. He put the ball in a catchable position for the receiver.
So it will be 4th down and a punt for Georgia Southern with 8:22 left in the 3rd. Kick is away, and Barry fades back. He will make the catch inside his own 10 and then try to run it up the right side. Finding some room, finding more room. He is gone. Trying to get that last man, but not going to happen. Barry all the way.
I was waiting for your call once again. When the first guy missed him, you knew he'd get to the wall. You can see it. When you sit up high, you can see the play unfold. And once he got to the wall, it was nobody catch it.
Trouble time for the home team, folks. Georgia Southern had a 10-7 lead. It is about to go to 21-7 if they can convert the point. They got a hand on him right after he catches the ball. He's at his own 10, but then the sideline beckons, and up goes Barry. Look at him.
What a great return. Great job by the special teams for Wofford, really sealing off the sideline. It was a blue jersey wasn't in sight on the sideline, so you knew if he got to the wall, it was going to be a touchdown.
And the kick, a little wobbly perhaps, but through, and that makes it 21-10. Wofford puts this shivering Saturday crowd, here in a bit of a silence because things were looking good going into the break, and the 3rd quarter turned things back on their head. Well, if you're looking for more than stats and scores, you need to visit css-sports.com for programming schedules and information on all your favorite shows. There's plenty of chances to win game tickets and prizes. Check out css-sports.com today. Let's take one more look at the kick return, because if you talk about big plays, this is the biggest of the day.
Well, Georgia Southern had a chance right there, number 39, had a chance to make a play.
Lance Turner
had a chance to really make a big play, but he seemed to stop his feet before he got to the runner, and it could have been a big play for Georgia Southern. Instead, it turned out to be just an enormous play for Wofford.
I credit Tim Camp at least for trying to, the last man to try and chase him down, but there was no catching Brandon Barry on that play.
No, once he got to the sideline, you can see it from here that it was going to be a score.
The only thing that would have stopped Barry there was if Barry had pulled up to celebrate a little early. Seen that happen in ball games, but Barry, the senior from Knoxville, Tennessee, said, "I'm going to the house."
Yeah, you don't generally see those type of mistakes out of seniors.
So the kick is away, and another one into the end zone, and Foster watches it sail over his head yet again. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 20 for the Eagles, who are seeing that gap get bigger every time they get the ball now.
And Wofford has really done a good job of just taking the adjustments in their locker room at halftime and just taking over the game. They've come out with more intensity on defense and offense than Georgia Southern has on their defense and offense and special teams.
Eagles know they lose today, they're going to be, not to be unfair sounding, but they're going to be losers for the season. They will not have an opportunity at a winning record unless they win out.
Well, that would be fair.
Yeah, well,
That's a fair assessment.
okay. No one likes to be called a loser, I'm just saying. Clark rolling to his right. Snaps the ball over to the sideline. Is that a catch? It is for a first down. Smiley.
Great. And that was a great execution of an offensive set there for Georgia Southern. And you like to see that. The pressure is squarely in their hands on their offensive side now. You can see anytime you can get the quarterback outside the pocket and with no defender in his face, generally you'll get an quarterback that'll throw the ball relatively on the money.
Now, Clark has certainly thrown a prettier ball at times today than that one, but effective. Complete, first down. And this will be a handoff to Lewis, trying to work the left. Looked like they tagged the face mask on that, and that will be our first penalty of the day.
First play of the day. And see, that play there, it doesn't scare Wofford at all because Travis comes out the back door, and nobody's really paying attention to Travis as a running quarterback coming out the back door. But if you had a Foster doing that, then it would tend to spread the defense a little more.
And that's going to be the 5-yard face mask. Tagged it, but didn't grab and pull. Some other scores around college football. Maryland and Clemson. Maryland, the Terps, up 7-6. Here's one more look. You can see, that's right after the face mask there. You can see as Lewis goes down for the short gain. And
officials doing their job. They see.
Clark has an open Smiley on the right side, and that's good for a first down just shy of midfield. Some other scores of note, the Big South, Coastal Carolina, who is almost an honorary member of the Southern Conference because they played 4 games against Southern Conference teams. They're just delivering it to Savannah State today. 42-0 at the half. Liberty over Western Carolina, 7-0, a second quarter score, and Charleston Southern leading Gardner-Webb 7-0 in the first.
See, Western Carolina, that'll be a big win for the Big South with Liberty beating a SoCon team. That'll be a big win for the Big South.
Lewis working up the middle. He is rolled down.
The team that's really gone under the radar has been Charleston Southern. They're sitting at 8-0, if I'm not mistaken, and I think they're ranked in the top 20, sitting at 8-0.
Charleston Southern, the Buccaneers, look out for them. Okay, here's Lewis again. And you can see his number 45, Justin Franklin, senior from Jacksonville, North Carolina, just rolls the ball carrier right to the ground. 2nd and 9, let's call it, gain of almost a yard. And Lewis is going to get the carry again. He's across the 50, but brought down right away. And this time it's number 21, Kyle Horn.
Well, Kyle Horn did a great job of beating the tight end, Hal Scarborough, right there. And you can see, you expect to win that matchup there with your tight end. And you can see right here on the corner, he just beats the tight end there.
21-10 is the score. 5:45 remaining in the third quarter. We are in Statesboro, Georgia, Paulson Stadium, Georgia Southern University.
Once again, they bring more than he can block, and
nearly picked.
You can see the adjustment that they've decided to make Wofford on. If we get a replay of that play there, you can see Wofford has decided every time Georgia Southern go into the empty backfield, they're going to bring more than he can block. And you can see off the right side coming scot-free, number 21 for Wofford.
21 is Horn, and 26, Philman Dawkins breaking up the pass. Dawkins out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
And when you bring a blitz and the defender knows that the quarterback has to get rid of the ball, you can play underneath the route, and that's exactly what the defender was able to do for Wofford.
Punt is away with 5.5 left in the third. Watch out for that ball bouncing in a crowd. It will roll to the 4, and that's a good play for Eagles special teams, but the Terriers will have the ball back, leading 21-10. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports. Wofford with the lead and the ball, but Georgia Southern hoping that the field position here helps the home team out a little bit. As Collier will take the shotgun snap standing in his own end zone, something you don't see every day. And he'll hand off to Hobbs, who pushes it right out to the 10-yard line.
What? We'll see. Joyce Southern body mannerism.
Or rather, that was Romero.
Yeah, Romero. Joyce Southern offense, their body mannerism has started to change there. You know, when you're a coach or you're a fan or you're an analyst, you start watching the body language of a team, and you can see that the defenses don't have the pop that they had when they started out. They don't have the steps. They were really upbeat. Now they seem to be dropping. They're giving up bigger plays on first down. You know, those are the same plays that Wofford was running early in the game, and now they're starting to wear on them, and so you can see their philosophy now starting to take over the game.
Yeah, the Terriers pounded it in on first, pounded it in on second, a few yards each time, and they'll make it 3rd and short now. And Travis Clark, with his passing, we said at the beginning he's continued to for Georgia Southern, has continued to move up in the record books. You know, sorry to say, Tracy, he's raced a couple of your marks or pushed you down, but that hasn't always turned into wins.
Right, and I think at Georgia Southern, when you talk about quarterback and you talk about quarterbacks going to the playoff, as you see the Wofford offense go, look like they were able to get their first down. And that's knowing the option. That's what they call a midline. The option between
Look, they're going to mark him short on this. He's going to be just about a yard shy from where they're spotting.
When you look at all the quarterbacks from Georgia Southern, as we go to the replay, and you'll see here where Collier just run a little midline, quarterback lead there. Georgia Southern do a good job of converting on that as you go for the measurement. This is your first time to go out on the limb, Mark, but is it a first down or not?
No, I'm saying that's definitely not, but that's what I get for thinking, though. We'll see what.
And I was just finishing the point. We talk about Georgia Southern, and you talk about quarterbacking, and it is short, and you called it right. That's your second one right this year. You talk about getting the team in position, and sometimes numbers are sacrificed. Sometimes you don't throw the ball. Sometimes you don't have to run the ball. But at the end of the day, you win ball games. And Travis's statistics has not translated into wins for Georgia Southern. So he has the ability, he has the tools. Now can he get everybody on his back and carry the team? And I think we talk about the Greg Hills, the Raymond Grosses. That's what you see.
They're going on 4th and inches at their own 14. Talk about something you don't see every day. And they do snap the ball and run it left. He's tripped for a loss. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Talk about rolling the dice. You're setting up the Eagles at the 10-yard line.
And Coach Ayers has been a great coach for a long time. You got to wonder why you would go for that. You got the wind at your back. You're going to get a good punt off.
That is really just daring the other team, isn't it? That's a slap in the face, even trying that.
Disrespecting the defense. And I know he didn't mean it in a disrespectful manner, but he's saying, look, my offense is better than your defense, and we don't have the respect to think that you can stop us, and they stopped them.
Absolutely. Great tackle in the backfield, sets up the Eagles offense, and Covington tries to push through the middle. He gets a yard perhaps.
Now on the flip side of that, he's saying, well, my defense, because it could be a slap in your offense face. Yep. He's saying, my defense can stop your offense. So we can go for it wherever we want. So it's really twofold, saying, well, my defense is better than your offense. And we'll see if that holds true. And on first down, they stopped them for little or no gain.
And so 2nd and goal. And the crowd applauds because Jason Foster has come back in at quarterback again. They are really watching the Foster and Clark. And the pitch to Lewis wide left. He's got no corner out there, and he is tackled, pushed out of bounds for a loss.
Great defense. You got to know Wofford know how to stop the option because they see it. You would think an option team know how to stop the option. But right there, they just strung it. They really did a good job of stringing the play out there. Brought a real heavy blitz off the corner and made Foster give up the ball. But see, Wofford they made him give up the ball. And it's the same thing when we was talking about Georgia Southern. They don't take anybody. So was that the Boo Birds I'm hearing again?
The Boo Birds again.
So we'll see now if Georgia Southern can continue to get a positive play. They've been really hadn't done a good job on first down here.
3rd and goal. Clark rolling right. He's going to keep it himself. No, now he pops it at 2 receivers standing in the same spot. Incomplete.
Now do you go for it?
Well, it's still only the third quarter.
Yeah, you can see
Still only the third quarter, but the kicking game has been such a problem.
You can see here, Travis does a good job. He has a guy open right there. He makes a good enough throw, and how do you fault those guys? You know, the ball's right there. You don't know if it's
Smiley
a defender
and
or not.
McCutcheon.
Clearly, it was somebody in the wrong position.
They know it's a semi-busted play. They're trying to adjust. They try to find an open spot. They just found the same one.
Same spot.
21-10 is the score. Trying to make it 21-13. The Eagles will kick. It's up, and that looks no good. Oh, I thought he was going to sneak it in.
Well, it's been along the lines of the kicking game has been really bad all year, and so today is no different.
They had a gift, and they didn't capitalize. 21-10, Wofford on top. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports.
Union for all your Georgia Southern Barrel League.
Well, I know you're jumping up and down about that Florida score, right?
Yeah, Florida up 15-6. The score that really caught our attention, though, was actually elsewhere in college football. The Mississippi State leading Alabama 24-10, a second quarter score.
Georgia's in a dogfight.
Yeah, Georgia only leading Kentucky 14-10. Some of those scores around the SEC.
I like the Navy-Duke score. Navy continues to stay in ball games and giving themselves an opportunity to win.
Navy up 21-6 over the Duke Blue Devils, the second quarter score. Now Wofford with the ball again, and a little misdirection there. Nice job to bring the quarterback down, but unfortunately he didn't have the ball anymore.
Yeah, you always got to bring the guy down with the ball. So Georgia Southern here, they missed the field goal. They take the ball out to the 20, so they get better field position than they had. And so Wofford is really starting to take control of the ball game. And Georgia Southern offense, if they don't do something the next couple of series, you know they're going to just go downhill because they hadn't had the ability or shown the ability this season to come from behind and score in bunches.
Collier on 3rd and 8. Will pitch to the right side, smothered by the Eagles. A loss of 2 will set up 4th and 10. And a little recent history for you folks. If you're just tuning in, the last time Wofford had the ball, they had 4th and 1 at their own 10 and went for it. Their own 14 and went for it. Lost yardage. Georgia Southern got a 1st and goal at the 10 and got nothing.
Christmas came early. When you opened the box, nothing was in it.
There's nothing in it at all.
Have you ever opened a gift and nothing was in it?
I don't think so. That would
Can't say
stink.
I have either. That would really stink. You're right.
The punt is away as the third quarter set to expire. Foster waving everybody off of it. It will die just inside the Georgia Southern 40. Wofford leading 21-10. That will be the score as we enter the fourth quarter of play, and the Eagles need to get something going. They haven't taken advantage. You're watching CSS. The fourth quarter of play at Paulson Stadium, and this is a big possession for the Georgia Southern Eagles as Travis Clark goes out.
And Mark, the field goal miss was a really big miss because if they make it and then they score again, they can go for 2 to tie the ball game. Now they still need 2 scores, so that had a lot of significance on.
Clark throws to Foster, right side. He's got some room, makes the first man miss. Of course, it's what he does.
Another flag.
Only the second time we've seen the markers today.
That is going to be holding.
And it is going to go against the Eagles. So, unfortunate timing for the yellow to start showing up today.
And that's where you need a leader to step up. This is when you want to see your quarterback step up and say, get control of your offensive unit. Get them in tune with what's going on as the official calls the holding call.
10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still first down.
and really just put a drive together, because Georgia Southern has not really driven the ball here of late. Well, this second half, they hadn't really done anything in the second half offensively.
Well, you can see the rushing yards for Georgia Southern. Covington's got 77, but 57 of that was on one play.
Right.
Lamar Lewis, 63 yards. He's averaging about 4 yards a carry. And that's everything, pretty much. Tim Camp's got 17 yards rushing. Jason Foster, 8, but that's it. This is going to be Clark throwing to Lewis. He's got a blocker if he can set it up. Didn't quite work out that way, though. And they're actually going to get some of their penalty back, but they're still in a long yardage situation.
And number 75, Brad Williams, was doing everything he could to get there. Yeah. He just could not get there.
There's a look at Lewis. Hands on the hips. Lamar Lewis, number 6. They really try to keep him involved over and over again, but hasn't been able to find the big play today.
Well, what it appears to be, Georgia Southern had a couple playmakers, and that would be Lewis and Foster, as the ball just sails on him there. And as we look at, Travis make the throw there, and what we have not seen as we look at the third quarter stats, Georgia Southern 12 first downs to 8.
Georgia Southern has the advantage in first downs, rushing yards, passing yards, total yards. Third down conversions is a bit of a problem. They've got the edge in time of possession. So, okay, number-wise, you look at that. Why aren't they winning this game?
Yeah, but third down kills drives, and then Georgia Southern hadn't had no big plays in the second half. They hadn't really been able to establish themselves in the second half of this football game, and so they found themselves in trouble.
And that's going to the right side to Lewis. The biggest play of all, of course, is special teams. The big punt return by Barry that really put an exclamation point on things for the Terriers.
And one of the things that really concerns you if you're a Georgia Southern fan is that Georgia Southern is showing that they're throwing the ball now, but they're not throwing the ball downfield. Mm-hmm. They're throwing everything underneath. Stretch the field. If you're going to throw vertical, throw vertical. They had three throws there. 2 of them went to the running back.
Yeah, and now it's going to be fourth and long, and they got to punt it
now they got to punt the ball. So if you're going to throw the ball, stretch the field and throw the ball.
Ball down at the shoes of the punter. Still manages to get it off. Fair catch sign shown, but waving the ball away. Barry backs off, and the Eagles have a great opportunity. They'll get it down at the 1 for the Terriers.
Now, and I think at this point, this is where the game is won or lost at. Right here, Georgia Southern, if they don't establish themselves and stop Wofford in 3 plays and get the ball in good field position, then, as you look at that, it was a 57-yard punt. Great job.
And Lance Turner, good job with right at the goal line there for the Eagles. And so the Terriers,
if they come out and drive the ball here, Mark, I think they are really saying, Georgia Southern, you guys can do nothing with us physically, on the ground, when we basically are going to dominate this ball game, the rest of this ball game. Because they've dominated. Wofford has dominated the third and fourth, one into the fourth quarter here.
Collier was looking to get the snap. The officials calling a time on the field. See what the holdup is here as the crew comes together. Yeah, we haven't had too many conferences today.
Right. Not too many conferences. How many timeouts do the officials get? I know Georgia Southern get 3, Wofford get 3. How many timeouts?
He's trying to get the game clock reset.
Both clocks on my signal. Thank you.
All right, a little timing issue is what the officials point out here. So they're trying to get everything synced up, synchronize your watches, and move forward.
And how are you with the fallback time clock changing?
I did okay. I did okay. Yeah. I guess I adjusted pretty quickly. I just don't like it getting dark so early.
Really?
I'm weak like that. Oh, through the hole in the middle and gone for long distance. Hobbs still going, gets a block and finds the right side. They're going to be hard pressed to get him now. 5 cut touchdown. Oh my goodness. You talk about driving the field. How about getting the whole field?
The whole 99 yards.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet number 3, Michael Hobbs. That's Hobbs with 2 B's from Andalusia, Alabama, because he's going to go coast to coast. He is hit after 1 yard and up the middle. And still go. He's looking around. He's looking for guys. He gets a great downfield block. You wouldn't have even expected down that far downfield in the end zone. What can you say about the Terriers?
Effort is worth its weight in gold. They had more effort on that play than Georgia Southern did. Georgia Southern had a chance to make a play on the 2-yard line.
28-10 is the score, and there you see number 3 Hobbs for Wofford. The length of the field. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports. .12:56 left in this game, and what can you say about going 99 yards?
Well, our producer says this was an ouch play, and that really hurt. Usually when you say ouch, it hurts, and that hurt pretty bad.
Foster will get the ball inside his own 5. Cuts behind his blockers, trying to find room, changing direction as he moves upfield. A flag is thrown as Foster crosses the 35-yard line. And we talked about the punt return being the biggest play. Well, the fullback for the Terriers said he could top that one.
He topped that one 99 yards. I don't know if you can get 99 and a half yards.
Well, that's about what it was. That ball was stopped on the punts, just right up, edged up to the goal line. Next thing you know, it's going in the other end.
Right, and what you would have wanted to see from the defensive side of the ball is really energetic, really high energy, come out, know if we stop them here, we get offense another chance, and instead, it just blow the gates wide open.
So for Hobbs, it's 6 rushes, 111 yards, 99 of it on one play.
And we've had 2 official conferences in the last 2 series.
Yeah, after most of the game with no penalties at all.
There are offsetting fouls on the play. Offsides on the kicking team, number 37. During the return, holding by the return team, number 43. Also an illegal block below the waist by the return team, number 8. A correction. All those fouls will offset. Replay the kickoff.
After all that, how about the players going, wait a minute. I thought it was an illegal block, well, not a block, but I thought it was illegal for the, when you watch the kickoff, the guy who blows up the wall, he went straight for the knee.
Yeah, he did. I
don't know if it's a call for that, but whatever it is, it's offsetting, so no.
We're going to see some of the,
I don't think we'll be able to, that ain't a hole, that's dancing right there.
Yeah, that's quite there's some hugging going on.
You know, not a hole, but a hug. You got to get a new call. We call it a hugging call. Which was a good call. The offsides, you would have seen the flag right off the bat. So, not questioning the officials. You know, they doing a good job today. Flags are starting to come out a little late, and the flags are coming out at a critical state for Georgia Southern when they need this game to be free flowing. They're hindering themselves by getting flags. So,
and you know, we're witnessing kind of some painful moments for a very proud, football team here, because Georgia Southern 3-5 coming in this game, not used to having a losing record, and could well finish with a losing record this year. And the crowd, after that last touchdown, started to empty a little bit, which is further pain for the home club.
Further pain, because what the fans don't believe is Georgia Southern has the offense to come back. When in their history, they always feel like they can't come back, and now they don't feel like they can come back.
Hobbs still breathing heavy on the side. He's getting his breath back now, but longest touchdown play in this stadium, and because you can't get any longer.
Can't get any longer.
And Hobbs is putting his name on his team's record book, Georgia Southern's record book, Southern Conference record book, because anytime you go 99, you know you've done the best you can do. Stumbling around back there, the new quarterback for the Eagles is actually number 12, Chris Rogers. The result is the same.
Well, I don't think it's a bad move by Coach Van Gorder. Look, when you look at the game, hadn't gotten many big plays from the quarterback position, and so he recognized that he has to find a quarterback that can not just get statistics, but can get plays that will gives the team a chance to win.
12:26 to go in this game, and the Terriers, thanks to some big plays, they're the only ones with the big plays, except for that big Covington run for Georgia Southern. That's the only bright spot they've really had. That pass is complete for a first down, and some crowd
just looking for anything. They're looking for anything to cheer about. They're going, yes. Now at least Georgia Southern is trying to play with some urgency here. They're going there hurry up set. They recognize they're 18 points down, so You got to do a lot of scoring in a hurry, and the new clock situation is not really conducive for coming from behind.
And Rogers will throw to his left to Foster. Foster gets the ball in space and across midfield to about the 45-yard line of Wofford. Is it too little too late to try and hurry up now? Or does this team still have it in them?
Well, I don't think Georgia Southern offensively has I don't think they have the fortitude to come back from a situation like this because every time they do something good, something bad happens.
Yeah, like everyone moving before the ball is snapped.
That's my point exactly. Every time they do something good, if you just wait for a minute, something bad happens. And that's their mindset, though,
Center comes back. I thought you said on two.
But that's what happens to a team that's struggling.
5-yard penalty, number 66, still second down.
Let me get a head man a chance to get his voice heard. He hadn't been able to speak much today. But that happens to a team that's struggling, that has no identity. I think that's more of a team that does not have an identity, and so no one has stepped up to be a leader. You really can't ask anybody other than your quarterback to be the leader of your team because that's where it starts at.
Rogers, play action and rolling right. Pursuit is on, and the throw is batted down right back at him by number 45, Justin Franklin.
And even when you look at them trying to come back here, we still play action, and nobody's really biting on play action. Get back and throw the football. If you're going to roll out, get it out there. But put yourself in situations where you use all the time you can, and you'll watch here as the quarterback sticks the ball in the running back as if it's a draw, but nobody really bites on it from the defensive side of the ball because they know if they just wait, that Georgia Southern will have to come to them.
That was just a swat. That was an absolute rejection. Yeah, he'd have them all hooting and hollering on the basketball court with a shot like that. So now it sets up 3rd and long. Rogers back, gets protection, shoots the ball up the middle, and will get it very close. And they'll go on 4th and short if he's a little bit shy here. If
that's
missed by maybe the nose of the ball.
You making that call?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see it one more time.
And Rogers seemed to do a good job of here, just dropping back, stepping back, reading the field. He did a really good job of moving the linebacker to the left,
and the chain gang wasn't even ready for that. The official went ahead and signaled that's a first down, and the chain gang on this side certainly had to kind of run into position because they were ready to mark the 4th down.
Well, Chris Rogers is a redshirt freshman, and so he hadn't got any playing time. So he's just glad to be playing.
Yeah,
so when you get a guy that's glad to be playing, he'll have some rush throws, he'll have some mistakes, but I think as a coach you have to evaluate him and see, okay, can we win with Chris? And I think that's a big question.
And there are a lot of talented young guys in a lot of positions for Georgia Southern. There's still bright days in the future for this club. This year, boy, no one there except for Franklin.
Franklin just stepped in front of it. If he had better hands, he'd probably be a tight end or receiver, but he's just reading the quarterback. So he stares his receiver down all the way. At some point in time, you got to know where the defense is at. So you can't. The first play, he moved the defense well, and then he comes back and as if the linebacker's not there.
Yeah, we were saying before, the future is still bright for this team, but the present is pretty dark. This year is not turning out the way they thought, and this game is certainly not turning out the way they thought. And if you think back to getting that possession, that missed 4th down that Wofford did on their own 10, little pitch, little shovel pass up the middle there, really only 2 yards on it, is going to set up a 4th and long. That play didn't really develop.
Well, and I think you're absolutely correct. It's amazing how 1 or 2 plays can really set the tone for the whole game. And Georgia Southern defense played well on that play, got stopped. Georgia Southern offense couldn't compliment them. And it's really, when you talk about a team sport, you certainly talk about the offense, the special teams, and the defense. Defense was doing their job. Then today, if you look at it, every phase has let Georgia Southern down. The offense let them down, the defense let them down, and special teams. And so that really makes it difficult to win.
The big plays or the big moments that Georgia Southern have been isolated. Wofford's been able to group theirs, and that's how they're ahead. And a 4th down sack, 2nd of the game, only the 6th of the year allowed by the Eagles. But Wofford's bringing the house because they know they can.
They know they can. They're up 3 scores, and so what Wofford is saying is, look, we're going to make you make plays under pressure. Georgia Southern has not shown, certainly Chris Rogers hadn't even been in a position to make plays under pressure, and so they put him in a very difficult position to make a play. So You got to give Coach Ayers a lot of credit. His staff, they come in here. I thought the biggest thing was the adjustments they made at halftime was the difference in the ballgame.
Still with more than 10 minutes to go, but Georgia Southern's going to have to really rally the troops. They're down 28-10. Wofford on top. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast Sports. 10:25 left in the ball game, and you can fit a lot of football into 10:25, and Georgia Southern's going to have to cram every play they can in. Wofford's going to try and keep that from happening. And we know what they're going to do. A lot of ball control. Collier with the pitch to Johnson. And a big gain on first down. And a flag is down.
I think we got an illegal block there. When you come from outside the box in, you can't block below the waist. And I think you see as the guy motion, I think it was number 18, Romero's, when he comes from the outside in, you'll see the block right there on Mooring. It's a below the waist block, and I think that's illegal. We'll check and see if I'm
on the mark on that one.
But
Johnson limping a little bit. That's bad news for Wofford for down the road. Yeah. Here's the call.
Illegal block. Back toward the ball below the waist. Number 18 on offense. That's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still first down.
Come on, give it up.
Nailed that one all the way.
You know, I mean, it's
spotted.
Not very, you got to give it up. I was on my JOB then.
An expert spot by by the QB in the booth here, Tracy Ham.
Well, I think
one of only, by the way, folks, if you don't know who's up here with me, this is one of only 2 retired jerseys here. Is Mr. Ham.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting you one, but they wouldn't let me take it down to give to you. I was going to let you take one to the little munchkin there. But I think if you Georgia Southern, and I think the thing about Statesboro and Georgia Southern fans is that they are so used to winning. They look, when you're sitting on this side, you see the flags, and you see all the tradition and the history of the program. There ain't much room for a down year.
There's the Tracy Ham jersey.
Okay, there you go. That's the one that I'm going to, it was too big for me, so I let them keep
it. If I'm not mistaken, I even heard a glimmer of applause when that popped up on the monitor. They remember their legends and lore here, and they certainly remember their national championship.
Yeah, they certainly do that. Georgia Southern fans know the football. Look, it's a fumble.
Did he fumble? Wofford hasn't lost a fumble in the last 5 games, but I think they lost this one. They did.
Now you know.
Maybe that could be a turning point. Is there enough time for it to be a turning point?
Oh, it's 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
More than enough time.
Okay.
You have all your timeouts.
They got to score 3 times in 10 minutes. They've only scored twice in the first 50.
Looked like it was a little hand. He had the ball plenty. Just one of those cases where sometimes that ball seemed to just get slippery or whatever the case is, because it wasn't a contact fumble. It was just a fumble where he just wasn't handling the ball.
Rogers will remain the quarterback for the Eagles. Can they respond? They've been given another gift. They returned the last one. Apparently it didn't fit. A handoff in the backfield, and Lewis dropped for a major loss.
Do they have enough time? And I was saying, as Georgia Southern get ready for the next season and the next season, I think their fans have to be understanding to say, look, we're going through some transition. It's a transition period. It was a transition period from the first game we done. And nobody liked to acknowledge that your team is, quote, unquote, rebuilding.
Yep.
But they're clearly rebuilding. I mean, that's just the case of it. They are rebuilding.
Rogers tucks and runs, and he'll get a few, and slung out of bounds. And some of the Eagles took exception to that, but they separate. Everybody's happy.
And because there's a lot of frustration. Those kids, those players on the sideline, they know the tradition of Georgia Southern. They know the history of the program, and nobody wants the program to go through transition on their watch. And it's their watch, and ultimately the players are responsible for when you talk about, wins and losses and can you get it done. The players, your practice, your work habits, the things you do are directly resulted in the games. And so you certainly want to see the players take onus and really play better, just like that. Was it a bad play call? No, it was just a bad execution of the play. And so I think Georgia Southern fans have to understand that, it's just a tough year for Georgia Southern, and you just got to go through it and keep rebuilding. And if you're a Georgia Southern fan, it's painful, but it's a necessary process to get your program back up.
Here on the 3rd and long, Rogers throws kind of a knuckler, and McCutcheon's leaning the wrong way, and
just nothing.
They're just not on the same page there. You can't make that happen.
Right. And so it's just a thing of execution.
Which puts them in the unfortunate position of going on 4th and 14 from the 40. Rogers takes the shotgun snap, He's got some pressure. His pocket collapsing around him. He's got to look downfield. He does. Picked off. Number 26 for the Terriers is Philman Dawkins, and Dawkins is finally down and about where the line of scrimmage was to begin with. So the result is virtually the same as an incomplete pass, but it's a turnover, and the Terriers have the ball.
And that's why they go for it on 4th down, because they felt today their defense was better than the offense they was playing against.
One more time. Here's Rogers, and he's got nowhere to go. He's going to try and find himself some space and forces that ball into the middle. He's got one man surrounded by 3 defenders.
Right. First of all, he left the pocket a little too soon. But, you know, that's easier said than done because the pocket really was there. The offensive line had created a pocket for him. And if he just took a little slight step upward, he still would have had time to find somebody downfield. But I'm saying that from sitting in this pocket where it's nice and comfortable. The ladies are not trying to hit us. You know, you've been very nice to me today. So
Collier running left. Pitches now. And they'll get good positive yardage out of it in the end. That's Terrence Ware from Decatur, Georgia, getting the carry. And want you to go inside the huddle with the Talkin' Football crew Sunday at 8 to review all the weekend's college football action. Don't miss it. Talkin' Football on CSS.
Well, you look at the Terriers roster. They have two kids from Statesboro, Georgia, Ronald and Josh.
Ronald Flott, Josh Rowe, and they're from all over the place on the Wofford roster, certainly, and a lot of Georgia kids in there. And you know, it's a school with less than 2,000 students, but you know, you hear a lot about the smallest Division I program, but they've managed to put together wins and you know, obviously strong running attack year after year. They were in the national semifinals just a few years ago. And
well, Coach Ayers has done a great job with the program. He's continued to recruit well. He's coming to the state of Georgia and recruiting. I think when you talk about getting football players and you want to
in South Carolinas, but mainly homegrown. And Wofford, they're coming from Ohio. And they're forcing holes and still getting first downs. And for every Wofford first down, that's more clock that's gone and more the door is shut for Georgia Southern.
And the more people are piling out the stadium.
Yeah, the attendance today, a little over 12,000, 12,486, I believe, is the official number. Well below Georgia Southern's average. And, you know, there's a few things that go into that. It's been cold. It's been windy. It was an earlier game start today, but you know what? Winning brings a lot more people out.
You'll sit through a lot of things if you're winning as opposed to if you're losing. So Georgia Southern's going to win again. It's just a case of win. I think a big test for Coach Van Gordon and his staff will be, you know, after you've gotten in there, you've assessed the program, you've got a recruiting, full year recruiting under your belt, and then you've gotten the type of players you want in here, and then only then can you start evaluating. And you can't even evaluate him after next year. You got to let him go through the full cycle of a freshman class until those kids become seniors.
Yeah, but patience is difficult when you've got 6 national championship banners flying off the pole out there. And,
yeah, but I think
expectations
that's
are that high.
Yeah, but people who understand football understand that you have to give a coach a chance from start of recruiting to the finish of that class becoming a senior, because only then can you determine if it's successful or not. And you look at it on all the recruiting shows when they say, okay, this is one of the top recruiting classes in the country, and then you don't know if they end up being a top recruiting class until they become juniors and seniors.
Absolutely. I always, my reaction when people get too hung up on recruiting, as we look at Coach Van Gorder there and think about the future of this program, I always say let me see him when they put a uniform on first,
right?
Because you get on some of these shows and you hear guys changing the entire nature of football before they've even appeared on campus. It's it's a little much. Let's calm down.
It's a little much.
And Collier is going to pitch out to the right side, and that's actually going to be close to another first down. Again, that's Terrence Ware.
Yeah, I think everybody's throwing the rope around the tree for Coach Van Gordon, I think is really premature. I don't think you can assess a coach's ability to whether he can get the job done or not in a year. I don't think you can assess it in 2 years. I think I think you have to take it through the full cycle of a recruiting class, from his first recruiting class until those kids become seniors, and then and only then do I think you can assess whether a coach can be successful or not.
Well, it is 4th and 2, and the Terriers are going to go for it because they have more to go. Oh, it's pooch punt. Not too shabby either, because that's going to roll inside the 10. And they've done that before this year. That is not a total surprise shouldn't be a total surprise for the Eagles, but they can't exactly play it for anything but a serious going for it on 4th down, because they know also the Terriers go for it more than anybody else. 28-10, Wofford out in front. You're watching CSS, your source for Southeast sports. 28-10 is the score. Less than 5 minutes to go in the game. The visitors from Spartanburg, the Wofford Terriers, leading Georgia Southern.
Rogers still at quarterback.
Rogers got a few chances. He gets smacked at the goal line and laid out in his own end zone as he lets go of that one.
A couple questions for Georgia Southern. You know, how does this affect Travis for the next week's game? Just a huge ball game.
If you're, okay, Tracy, you've played the quarterback position, and you've played it well, but if you're Travis Clark, you were in this game, you struggled a little bit. The crowd cheered when Jason Foster came out and booed when you came on the field, and then they bring in Chris Rogers, to fill in for you for the remainder of the game. Where's your head at right now if you're Travis Clark?
Well, two ways you can go. One, if you're a competitor, you want to get your shot back. You want to get back to practice. You want to get at it again and say, hey, I'm the quarterback for this team, and I got to prove it. On the other hand, if he takes the adverse role, going, well, they don't want me as their quarterback. You know, so he has to compete. I think when you're losing, stats don't mean a thing. It's winning is the only thing that matters. And so now he has to get back to competing for the job. Mm-hmm. I think one of the biggest things is when you win the job, you know, do you continue to try to increase your play? Or do you say, well, it's my job, I'm the quarterback for Georgia Southern. So Travis, it'll be interesting to see how he comes back and perform against Furman, which is by no means an easy task. You got to go up to their house. They've been traditionally tough up in Greenville. And so, you know, it's some hurdles for, you know, Travis as a quarterback to cross. And, you know, he's a very, very competitive young man. You want to see him compete. You really want to see the quarterback position be a competitive position. And then when you win it, you want to see your play increase, not stall out. You know, and so and being fair to Travis, some plays should have been made, was not made. But at the end of the day, you know, you're the quarterback, and it's your job to get it done.
3rd and less than a football length for the 1st down, and they'll just go ahead and quarterback sneak it to get a new set of downs.
But now, if you're Rogers, you're going, whoa, this is my opportunity.
A window has opened.
A window has opened, so, you know, so it's twofold. And you want, you know, kids to feel like, hey, if I play well, coach, I should play. But, you know.
Rogers rolling left, and he wanted Smiley all the way, and it was quite obvious, and Smiley was just standing waiting for a football. And the defenders are breaking on the ball, and lucky that was not picked off, and lucky further still it's not a pick 6, because there's nothing but green in front of Wofford there.
Rogers is not stepping through the window very well. He's not doing much to keep himself, you know, inside. So he has to
Apparently it was a second-story window, because he almost fell.
And it's really unfair, because when you're a guy that comes in off the bench and you hadn't thought about the game all week like the starter has, and so it's a difference in sitting in your room, preparing for the game, know that you're the starter, know the blitzes, know the checks you have to make, so, and then be able to come in there at halftime and be under tremendous pressure.
Rogers throws into the chest of the rusher, Aaron Scott. Scott was all over him, and Rogers just going to throw that ball.
And so Georgia Southern certainly has more problems than quarterback in here. I mean, it's not a quarterback. You can see missed the block there, yeah. And so it's tough for any quarterback to operate.
Four wides and one back, and he's got no protection. He winds up with a face full of Terrier there, and
you know. And Georgia Southern really has not addressed well. You see Travis with his helmet on, so he may feel like he still may get back in there. And he's just a sophomore. He has a lot of football to play. He's shown flashes of being a pretty good quarterback. So
Pressure again on Rogers. This time he gets the pass off to Covington, out close to the 30.
Well, Georgia Southern just really looking for anything now. So, do you go for it on third down here?
I think they have to go every time they touch it, just as a matter of course. They're not gonna surrender the game. I think even though it is unlikely that they've got to come back in them at this point.
Well, that was one of the keys. Georgia Southern does not play well from behind. They are not the offense is not to a point where they can catch up with people, or they get down 1 or 2 scores, they're in trouble, and their whole body mannerism says that they don't really come out with any.
And the keeper is no yardage. No, he never got off the blocks there, and so no gain. Turn the ball over on downs. Wofford with the ball and 3:26 to go.
I'm not sure what they were trying to do there. It looked like it may have been trying for the option.
Just an attempt to smash on the left side that it wasn't there.
I think Georgia Southern really has to come out and say, this is what we are. This is who we are. We know what Wofford does. Wofford said, we're going to run the ball. And the numbers bear. Wofford numbers bear to what they do. They got
276 yards rushing for Wofford. 9 different guys carrying the ball. Right. Georgia Southern 151 yards rushing. And this run through the right side, and more positive yardage. Wofford is just run. They're not getting knocked back anymore.
Not getting back. And at the beginning of the game, Georgia Southern did a good job of knocking them back. And you see as the new quarterback come in for the Terriers.
Yeah, Wofford, they said there would be a switch possible at some point. I think they actually held it longer than expected. It's going to be number 19 Widmeyer. Yeah.
Well, Collier played well, so it really didn't see any reason they would take him out.
A little misdirection. Handoff goes to the left side. They're really just content to run clock at this point. 2:16 rather. As
they keep doing what they're doing, they'll run right into the end zone because they're getting 7-8 yards. They're doing what they felt they had to do early. They're doing that now. They're getting 6-7 yards on first down, and obviously now they're running the clock out. But Georgia Southern never really recovered. I thought after halftime, the third quarter, you can see the adjustments that the Terriers made, but I really couldn't see the adjustments that Georgia Southern.
For the folks with the long memories, yes, it was 10-7 Georgia Southern at the half. 21 unanswered by Wofford. Colossal punt return, an incredible 99-yard run. Runner blasted there by number 44 T.J. Watkins, getting a little frustration out perhaps in a very forceful tackle. But second down at the 18 for the Terriers as the clock continues to run, under a minute and a half remaining.
4 out of 5 years.
Yeah, this series was 7-4 advantage in the 11 meetings for Georgia Southern, but the Eagles won 6 of the first 7, and the Terriers won 3 of the last 4, about to become 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
And that's the Eagles don't usually see that kind of dominance by any club over any period of time historically. And there's a big tackle, and again it's Watkins, who says somebody's going to step up here at the end of the game, and it's going to be me.
And what's happening now with Georgia Southern, the whole program, they have to start over. As you look at the total odds, 327 to 284. They have to start over. People once had a fear of coming in to Paulson Stadium and playing. Now that fear has been completely erased this year. Completely got to start over. Now they have to start a new tradition of saying, hey, it's going to be tough coming in here winning. And so that's on the players. That's on the underclassmen coming up. That's on the Travis Clark. That's on this ball club. They're saying, look, we're going to reestablish what we once had in here at Georgia Southern Stadium.
The funny part about all that, and that's offsides, and that's Watkins again, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be the one-man wrecking crew is what he's trying for. Even if he's got to get an early start.
Number 44, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
But that difference in yards is only 40-something yards between the two teams. After all this, you wouldn't expect one club to be up 28-10 numbers-wise, but that really shows you how Wofford, I think, has managed the game better than Georgia Southern has.
And I tell you, that punt return certainly was just a real turning point in the ball game.
And the clock is ticking down to 9, 8. They don't have to run another play. The Terriers will celebrate. The Eagles will shake their hands and wish them well, but it's going to be a losing season in Statesboro for the first time in 10 years, and that's not going to sit well with a lot of folks. But this is a program that's, as we said, rebuilding and trying to get back on the rise. There's Coach Mike Ayers of the Wofford Terriers. He's got a program in good shape, as his club is now 5-4. 3-6 for the Eagles. We'll be back to wrap things up. 28-10, Wofford wins. You're watching CSS. And the final score, Wofford 28, Georgia Southern 10, and big plays were the hallmark of this one. The Eagles had the 10-7 halftime lead, but couldn't make it stand up. College football coverage continues next on CSS as Florida Atlantic takes on Middle Tennessee State. Stick around for that. We thank you for watching. I'm Mark Bryan on behalf of Tracy Ham and all our crew here in Statesboro, Georgia at Paulson Stadium. It was a beautiful day for football, but it didn't turn out the home team's way. Not today, not thanks to plays like the 99-yard run of Michael Hobbs. Look at him go, number 3 for Wofford. That was one of the defining plays today. Terriers 28, Eagles 10. That's our final. Thanks for watching. Stick around for more college football on CSS.